Okay. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Culture Corner.
What's
We
up?
got
What's
a
up?
little upgrade. We are back with our guest, our recurring co-host, V. What it is, V? What's up?
Man, what to do? What's good with you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm so sorry about last week. We were supposed to film. I was not feeling it, so I my stomach when it feels weird, like I'm on shutdown. Anything on my body could be like in pain, but my stomach is the one that will really take me out. So I apologize for that. But we're here for another episode, and yeah, let's just get into it. So everyone has been seeing this viral TikTok story. I know you haven't seen it because I've talked to you about it. You haven't seen it. It's the Risa Tisa. Who the fuck did I marry?
First of all, I'm sorry. Ain't no fucking way. TikTok has ruined my attention span.
I'm
Ain't no
sick.
fucking way that I'm gonna sit there and watch the same TikToker for 50 fucking parts. Baby girl, I need you to wrap it up in like under
I'm
5 minutes.
sick.
Like that's way too much. Like you with 50 parts, you could have gave me your whole entire life story from the start to the finish, baby. But
She
you spent
did.
50 parts, which I don't know how long they are per
They're
part.
10 minutes each.
They're 10 minutes each per part, and people are
Yeah,
no, hell no, I'm not gonna watch
girl,
that.
the story was good. You know what I did? I did I did a 2 speed or twice speed. I didn't watch like the whole thing in like
Girl,
normal
I
time.
need someone. I need a blog online. Just do a nice little
But
synopsis. Give me the
girl,
the
there are those.
yeah.
There's even some on
Give
YouTube.
me the gist of why I should care so
Like
hard about this.
it was viral just because of the extent of the lies. Like what happened was insane.
What
So
pathological liars are just now being discovered?
it's people lie, and then there's what this guy did. So let me just tell you about what happened. Let's everybody sit down. Let's get into it. So basically, what happens is this girl goes on this date with this guy, and she the first sign of the whole situation is that she she's supposed to go on her first date with him, and then her tire goes out, and then he goes helps her fix her tire, and he goes buys the tire for her and tells her what to do, very gentlemanlike, very nice.
All right.
And then they start like hanging out more. This is 2020, by the way. So February of 2020, end of February.
Oh, so before or the COVID hit in 2019,
No, it hit in 2020.
2020. Yeah,
Like
okay. So
so,
before the big
right
shutdown.
before. So they kind of date
Ah.
for a couple of weeks. Then COVID happened. So they're dating for a couple of weeks. She didn't want to quarantine alone. He didn't want to quarantine alone.
We need a quarantine bay. I got one.
Yeah, they moved in together. So
Happens.
then from there, she ends up getting pregnant from him. Like a month later, she ends up getting pregnant with him.
Okay.
A month after that, she ends up having a miscarriage because while she is pregnant, they go looking for a house because they want to actually like officially move in together. Because I think they just quarantined at her place or something. They wanted to officially move in together.
Okay.
So they're trying to house hunt. They're trying to think. And then he's talking about putting down like house payments and stuff, and he's putting in cash offers. And this man apparently, do you know what arena football is?
Arena football.
Yeah,
Or we're talking like a sport.
yeah.
So like flag football.
Uh,
Arena football. Like is that like flag
it's,
football, rugby? Another name for soccer.
that's what I was thinking. But this is what this man said that he like did. So he had a lot of money
Hold, I'm gonna look this
in
up.
some accounts. Please, actually, because my
Cause
phone
like, what
is
is
preoccupied.
arena
Like,
arena football? Let's see what this is. All right, the Arena Football League can refer to one of the three successive professional indoor American football leagues. So it is.
legit.
Oh, no. It played its first official games in the 1987 season, running for 22 consecutive seasons until going bankrupt following the 2008 season.
So yeah, I was confused about, but that's what he said he did. Obviously, that was part of the lie.
So he did pretty much indoor football.
Like,
Okay,
isn't
dude.
isn't all football.
It's yeah, from what this says, it's pretty much football, but instead of it being like in a bigger field, like you know how most some of the stadiums are like outside, it's like in a Georgia Dome, but like smaller than a dome,
I'm sick. Not a
like a
Phillips
minor
Arena.
league, if you will.
Not a Phillips Arena. I'm sick.
The Brave Stadium.
Yeah, exactly. Oh shit, even smaller. I'm sick. Exactly.
But you see no sky or nothing.
Exactly.
But I mean, hey, wait, that's what he said. First
So
off, where are they based?
Atlanta.
So she already should know from the jump that man was lying.
Yeah, he said he was a VP. He was a VP of a condiment company that we have based here. What's the condiment company? Do we have a? Do you know the?
A condiment?
Yeah,
Like,
a famous condiment company from what she said.
let's see, famous, based here in Atlanta.
Yeah,
From Atlanta.
I think it's at least based in Atlanta. I don't know if they're from Atlanta, but based.
Let me see.
I was thinking Heinz, but it might not be.
Oh, there's already a Reddit page for who the fuck did I marry?
I'm sick.
Someone said I couldn't find any condiment companies headquartered in Atlanta. Was the condiment company the place he said he got the use of the helicopter? Also, I missed the part where he left the condiment company and started working for Apple. Like,
See, they're already telling you some shit. Like, so that's what he said he was doing. That was his occupation. He used to play arena football, and he was currently a VP of a condiment company, one that apparently doesn't exist because the people of Reddit are looking for it and they can't find it. And so they're looking for this house, and he's like putting down money and stuff like that, but for whatever reason, like things aren't happening. So like she goes on Zillow and she like looks the house and it's like, oh, in contract. So that means like they're kind of working on it. So then he was like, yeah, I told you that I was gonna be that. Like, did you not believe me? So then she checks like a week later, and then it says sold, but they're not planning on moving anytime soon. So that was kind of one of the first red flags. They ended up doing
there was like 3 red flags, 4 or 5 red flags in that
Yeah.
actually.
They ended up doing that 3 more times.
Oh wow! So
yeah.
she's delusional.
Yeah.
Is what it's giving.
The thing is, I want to give her grace because the truth is,
How old is she?
she was. I think she was like late 20s, early 30s.
She should know better.
The reason why I want to say I want to give her grace is because she talks about how she wanted it to be her turn. She wanted it to be her turn.
Exactly.
She wanted it to be her turn.
Exactly.
And I do think this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it. I do think it leads into the conversations of like the amount of people who ignore red flags for the sake of the relationship.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people, no offense, a lot of people like to get on her because this whole thing happened. To make a long story short, like he ends up lying to her about everything. This boy wakes up to tell a lie, like literally wakes up 6 a.m., calls on the phone, no one's on the phone, talking to her, talking to his, to one of his brothers for years. The family doesn't even fuck with him because he talks about he lies since he's a child. He owes people money. No one fucks with him. There was a point where she's ending up having to call his ex-wife and tell her like to ask her like what's going on, and literally the ex-wife like answers the phone, and like once she finds out who it is, she's like, oh, she starts laughing. She's like, he, I know it's bad if you're calling me. So it's very, very, very insane. Like the measures she had to go to, the lies that he told.
But see, my thing is that like if you have to go through, I'm talking like you have to dig that deep into somebody, and you're blatantly ignoring all of the warning bells that are telling you why do you need to go this deep. If you don't trust him and it's making you go this deep, baby girl, he may not be the one for you.
Yeah, I will say she does talk about how at least she was very honest. She was very honest throughout this whole thing.
Is this like her first relationship type B? Because if it's like her first relationship,
I don't
understood.
think so. I hope not. I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many background context that needs to be.
So true.
Because again, I can't. I mean, granted, there are some hopeless romantics out there. I am one of them. And granted, I have been in relationships where, like you said, I ignore the red flags for the sake of the relationship. But there's only so many red flags you could ignore.
Yeah. But like, for her sake, it's like the one thing I would say is like, when she decided to finally divorce him, it was when she found out that he actually cheated on her, like actual like cheat. It wasn't all the
Oh,
lies.
that's what cut it off,
It
was the
wasn't
cheating.
all the yeah. It wasn't all the signing legal documents that he was lying on. It was the cheating.
You know what it's giving me? I dated an Atlanta scammer.
Like
That's you're in Atlanta, baby.
that's really what it
7 out of 10
was.
times the men that you meet, if they have a lot of money, they're probably a scammer.
This man was like literally. He had a job, then he didn't. Then it was like this, that,
Yep,
and the
exactly,
third.
baby. We know it's Atlanta. We known for that
When
shit.
she kicked him out, he ended up driving to Atlanta or driving to Philadelphia just to try to drive back. This guy was crazy. This guy was crazy, and he was a mental liar. But so to bring it back to the whole conversation and why I wanted to talk about it is the fact that a lot of people want to act like they don't ignore the red flags or they haven't been in Reese's position. Now, granted, have we all ended up marrying these people? No. Have we all ended up like ignoring these kind of red flags? No. But we do it. We ignore them. We do say like fuck it, and we all get burned from it in different ways. So I just don't like the way that people are kind of insulting her in that way. It's like, babes, like, come on.
Because, like,
Like,
I mean, I don't think that all red flags are necessarily a bad thing. It's
yeah.
more so as something to kind of keep an eye out in case if it does, evolve into something more that could definitely tarnish the relationship. But once again, how many red flags do you need in front of your face before you realize that this is not a good idea? I mean, from the day one jump, God was trying to tell you something.
I will say, I was watching this podcast. It's called Antics with Ash, and she had like a sex therapist there. And like red flags are usually dependent on the person, and sometimes she's like, when you see a red flag, sometimes they're not necessarily something that you have to like stop the relationship
Yeah.
for. There's something that makes you have to like stop, pause, and maybe like talk about it and like kind of maybe like situate it and understand it before like actually just shutting it off because um nobody's perfect. So like trying to find like the perfect person without red flags is kind of gonna be hard.
Because
But
everybody has flaws. No one's
yeah,
perfect.
but you have to just make sure like they're not red flags, like bad. But sometimes like in situations like this, I do think the lying is very weird because he had this whole thing about wanting her to not wanting to show her his like his all his funds, like all his offshore accounts and whatnot. Like he had this funny thing about
He
it.
had offshore accounts?
Yeah.
Baby, that's a scammer.
Like I mean a
Like,
lot of people a lot of like rich people they do
really
have
successful. They
offshore
do.
accounts, yeah, but like you can prove that and you can show them. So it's I he's obviously lying. Like first of all, this guy's broke. But it kind of like I don't like the fact that a lot of people are just like, "Oh, she was like stupid and stuff like that." And it's like, "Babe, we've all been in that position before. Like no shade, no tea."
I've been in that position
And
when I was 22,
like
23.
yeah, and some people learn like we all learn our different pace. Like we don't all learn the same lessons at the same times. And sometimes the thing is, 'cause I'll be honest, I've had the name that he was given or the name that he called himself was Legion, which honestly, it is so fitting for a man that is like that is this kind of liar. Like, and no shade, no tea. For her, apparently that's what she said that he said. Like that he called himself. So if he's calling himself Legion
He
Girl,
doesn't even trust you with his real name, babes.
like
Come on. Red flag already.
um,
I mean, come on.
if he is calling himself Legion and this girl is a Christian woman, do you know what the religious origins of Legion?
The only Legion that I know of a religious origin is the movie. Bomb. You know the movie with the crazy ass, that old white lady that was like walking on the walls and shit, eating meat, saying your baby gonna die and burn in hell. You don't.
No, what the
I swear to
hell?
God, I'm gonna show you that
I
shit.
thought you were about to talk about X-Men because there's a guy with a superpower like that.
Girl, no, I'm talking
Like,
about the actual movie Legion.
what?
You never seen the
No.
movie Girl, first of all, see it. It's a hilarious movie. I say hilarious
What
because
is this?
hold on.
I mean, funny enough that they're talking about like religious things in it, but like in the Bible, Legion is a demon. Like his literally, he comes out saying like, "Call me Legion, for we are many." So like he's supposed to be like this one demon that has like a million demons inside of him. And for a man who told this many lies, each of them you could consider them a demon. So honestly, it's poetic. It's really poetic.
That's like me coming up to a girl and be like, "Call me Lucifer."
Like
You're
literally, you
like,
know what I'm
bro,
saying?
what?
It's like
Should
cute
I be
name,
worried about
but you
something?
should know what it means because that might be a sign.
Should I hold on?
You know, but yeah. So like, um, I want to talk about like honestly like the times maybe we have ignored red flags and what that probably have looked like because honestly we've done it before and everyone everyone has a type of legion in their life. Like if the girls that say they didn't, no shade, no tea, some of y'all will get in with some people's boyfriends. So y'all need to shut the fuck up. Okay? First of all. And second of all, before we get into that, I really want to ask, y'all let anybody breed you? I'm talking about women specifically. No shade, no tea.
Oh boy.
Because first of all, no shade, no tea. Like she only knew him for a month, maybe two, before she was pregnant with his baby.
Oh yeah, people be rotting it, man. They
And
raw dogging
yeah,
it.
and it's like a lot. There's a lot of people who have children with people who they hate now, and it's like y'all let anybody breed you.
Because like you don't understand, like when you in the moment, it is nothing but you and the other person, and it seems like you guys are forming into one being. You know, the thought crosses your mind into it, like shit, man, I could have a baby with this person. Oh hell yeah, I can do it. You know, I mean, I'm granted that's what I be thinking, but when you in that special moment, you know what I'm saying, things fly, shit get nasty, one way or another.
Yeah, honestly, that's straight people problems. Cause me, I don't have to worry about that.
I don't need to worry about that.
Like, cause that's just. It's actually insane to think about the amount of people who have like children with people who they don't like. And mind you, it's different when I'm not talking about the girls whose guy ended up like up and leaving them, like going to the gas station one night and never coming back.
Gonna get milk.
Those y'all are excused because that man done lied, okay? But some of these guys are shitty people to the bone.
But like, okay, so like the for example, Nick Cannon's people, them people. Let's talk about it, right? You know that this man has 10 other kids with 6 other women, and you still willingly want to have a kid with him, knowing that, granted, he might, I mean, I don't know Nick Cannon's business. He might send some money to you, you know what I'm saying? He might come visit the kids, you know what I'm saying? But to be like a full active father figure with 10 different kids from like 7 different women, that family culture dynamic, it has to be but weird. But there's women out there that are willing to get pregnant by celebrities. I remember there was this, I forgot this one where I think it was Funny Marco's sister. I mean, granted, she might have been joking about it, but she was talking to Chris Brown because Funny Marco had Chris Brown on his pod, and she was like, "Well, can you just let me have a baby?" She's like, "You don't need to take care of it or nothing. I just want your baby." Like, there's women out there that want that. They just want a kid from someone famous. They just want to have that alias. Oh, my kid, his father is a famous rapper. His father is a, well-known podcaster. I don't fucking know. But people just want to have the bragging rights to say, yeah, that's who this was. No shade, no tea. That's none of my business because obviously it doesn't really affect my life. But when we really think about it, in the aspect of things, it's kind of like, you don't have kind of like any other like way about it. Like you just want to have a kid with this person just because of their namesake. Granted, also I'm also talking about celebrities. I'm not talking about the average Joe here. But the same concept does also apply. Some people just want to have, they just want to have the bragging rights. Some women just want to be able to say that, I was with this one guy and this is his baby.
Yeah.
Not saying all of them, obviously. Not all. Some.
Yeah. And it's just, for me, it's more so like it's just the thought process. It's like, are we really, 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 really okay with like being with this person? Or is this just like a heat of the moment thing? Or is this just like the emotions got the better of me? Like, why do y'all hate y'all baby daddy so much? And why do y'all pick these dumb ass people to to breed with? No shade.
I guess
Like,
so.
some of these guys, like, like, could you? I am so glad in the story. Honestly, it's so sad that she had to go through a miscarriage. Like, that is terrible. That is so sad. No one should have to go through that. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm so happy she did not bring his child into this world. Like, could you imagine if she did? That's a guardian angel work right there. Cause that man is sick. That man's a liar. So that's all I just wanted to say. Like, y'all really, one of the lessons y'all need to take away from this is just be careful whose baby you bring into this world. Okay, no shade, no tea. I know abortion is a hot topic these days in the U.S. because we don't fucking have it. But please, 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 please don't have these kids babies. Like, it's not okay. These people do not deserve to be reproducing. But yeah, let's bring it back to the main thing. Let's bring it back to our legions. Let's talk about our legions because we all have one, and I think we really need to start talking about them because one thing I feel like is if we talking about these people more, and if we talked about our situations, maybe we can catch some of these people. Like, no shade, no tea. The wives of Legion should have aired him out on Facebook so we could have ideas for the next time. I mean, it would have never helped because he done lied about his name and whatnot. But we need to have files for these people. We need to start being it like, let's bring it back to Black Mirror season 3 episode 1. Let's start giving people ratings. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, they're kind of already doing that. There's a dating app based off a credit score. So
That's crazy.
you can date someone within your financial situation. So if I want to date someone, but I want to make sure that their credit score is at least a 740, I'm not trying to date nobody with anything less. I can go on a dating app and be
I will
matched with them.
say though, girl, it's easy to. I mean, I don't want to say it's easy to get a good credit score, but as long as you
Girl,
maintain a good credit score, you don't really have to have a good job.
girl, fuck that shit. That shit's like a GPA, bro. The moment
Like,
you drop that shit, but
like,
you'll spend
yeah,
half your decade trying to bring it back up to where it
yeah,
once was.
but like, yeah. So you know what I mean? That's actually insane. But yeah, we need to start doing that. We need to start rating people. We need to start airing them out. So let's just talk about our situations, and maybe people can relate. Maybe some people can't relate, but people will be aware that these are what the people are doing. Granted, I'll start. My time was very young. It was like when I was like, I want to say 18, 19. So like this one's very childish. So this one's for the young gays out there. Listen up.
Oh, the baby gays, the
Like,
babies.
yes, please.
I love you, gabies. Y'all are awesome.
Like, oh my God, these people will try to run you, especially the gays. So I met this guy on Grinder. We hooked up one time. Um, if we want specifics, it was really just a blowjob. Like, it was a good one. We did it really well. It was really cute. He was really, really cute. He was from Brazil. And we kept texting. So we got off of Grinder. We started texting each other, this, that, and the third. One day he texts me. He's like, oh, like, he did something to his parents' car. His parents owned a company. I won't say the company because I don't want to get into too specifics in case someone tracks him down. I don't know. You know, you never know. But his parents owned a company, and he lived a minute away. I want to say it was past Sugar Hill. I remember that because I had to pass over there all the time to get to his place. Yeah, like definitely almost like in Gainesville.
Okay,
Like he was
that's pretty far up.
no, not even by Gainesville. He was closer to like Lake Lanier.
That's Gainesville.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So he was over there. And so I would be driving over to his place, meeting him over at night. We would be talking, we would be smoking, we would be chilling. Like, and it was like this whole thing. So one of these days, He messed up his parents' car, like the company car, and then he's like, "Oh, I need money to fix it. Like, can you send me money?"
Oh,
It'll really show me that you care about this relationship if you send me money.
and how long y'all known each other?
At this point, girl, we only shoot for like. Honestly, I would be proud of myself if it was more than 2 months. But I'm
And you
one
was
hundred
sending
percent
money?
sure it was one.
That is crazy.
Yup, $200
Woo!
down the drain.
Man, you must really
And this
like
was
this
back
guy.
in the day where my checks were. I was making like 725, 825. The checks were only 400.
Mm.
Like, so when I say $200, 250,
Like half
that
of
was
it.
like half a check.
And then you must have really liked this guy.
Like, girl, just like Risa Tisa, I really thought like he really was fucking with me, and I really wanted to like ride or die. I really wanted to him and I him.
Mm.
I really wanted to be my man, my man, my man. So that kept so that happened, um, and then basically he would do that sort of thing. He would love bomb basically, and kind of just like assure there would be a relationship. Say like, oh yeah, like I want to show you to my parents, this, that, and third, da da da. But then, like when we would meet, he would be like, oh, do you have any weed? And then I'd be like, oh, if it was like a good week, I would probably have some. And if it wasn't, because this was the time I wasn't really smoking like that,
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably smoke every weekend. And when what's it called? When we started to like hang out, he would always ask me to bring some. So I would be running over, getting weed. Anytime I kind of didn't want to, I would kind of try to say I don't have any money. And then he would be like, oh, you don't care about this relationship, da da da. You
Mm.
really don't care. Like, I thought you cared, da da da.
Mm.
So, of course, I would find the money. I would do something. I always made my way. Like, and I was like caring for this dude. Like, there would be times, like, I would just drive over to his place just to give him food. Like,
Damn.
yes, bitch. Like, gas. Let's talk about the gas. Luckily, gas was that expensive back then. But god damn, like I was
Talk
out
about the
here doing
commitment.
it. Like yeah, I really care for old boy. And so like that basically went on, and then like I was telling all my friends about him. I think I even told y'all about him. I think yeah, y'all probably even seen his picture. Remember? I'm pretty sure y'all did.
Probably. I don't.
Way
I don't
back
remember.
when. Way back when. Like
That's a question for Kiki right
like
there.
yeah, it was way back when. This is like almost like one of the only guys I like introduced you to um besides we'll just call him Big Eyes. Besides Big Eyes, the other guy.
Who?
Uh, he had I don't want to say this. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
But yeah. So there was only two guys that I really showed y'all, and he was the first one. And so he would always like be like, "Oh, when you gonna show me to your friends? When you gonna do that? When you gonna do this?" And I showed it to one group of my friends. He was really like standoffish then. Like it was just a bunch of love bombing and me kind of like forking out money anytime we hung out, basically, almost like a transaction,
Yeah, essentially.
literally. So me personally, like it's like I kind of felt that every time, and I kind of did not like it, and I hated it, actually. And so it was to a point where like I asked one of my friends from New York, one of my besties. I was like, we called and I told her. I didn't tell her exactly how much like you think, and I told her like, oh yeah, like this, that, and third. He took this much money from me. She was like, girl, it's a chop, it's a chop, it's a chop, it's a chop. Like leave his ass, leave his ass, leave his ass. And that's one thing I will say. I'm very glad. I am never. If that's one thing you take away from this, please do not hide your relationship from your peoples. Like, you guys have a community for a reason, and you need to let them into your relationship. Like, no shade, no tea. When Risa Tisa was going through her stuff, like, I just don't feel like her village, her community was more like, girl, be careful to her. Like, they didn't, like, tell her, basically, or vocalize it. They might have been like, and even when she told her aunt, like her aunt really didn't say anything because like at that point she was married to him. But for me, I would have been like, girl, you gotta leave. You gotta go. I don't like him. Like, and that's why I'm very vocal about who my friends date too, because long story short, I do not want y'all in like situations where you guys are just with like an abusive person or someone who doesn't treat you right.
Hey man, you gotta live and learn.
Yeah, and that's one thing about
Hey,
being that friend is to actually see your friend. Like you tell them, like, girl, you don't deserve this, and the third, and they still gonna make a dumb mistake anyway. They still gonna go back to them. They still go talk to them. They still like, you know, you gotta live and learn.
you gotta live and learn. You know what I'm saying?
So it's just so insane. But yeah, like I'm usually nitpicky about like the people that like my people date, cause like sometimes it's just like there's some things that I'm like okay, it's whatever, and then there's some things that I'm like there's someone that I know whose um a significant other is a pocket watcher, and I'm like, why do you have someone watching your pockets? Meanwhile, you have more money in your account than they do in theirs,
Mm,
and they're pocket watching you.
that's crazy.
Like, you see what I'm saying? So there's some situations where I'm just like, yeah, that's a chop for me, honestly. Like, I can see from a mile away that this might not be good, but people like to say my man. You know, I can't relate. So whoopsie, you know. But that's why I'm also very vocal. So yeah, so I told my friend, and she told me it's a chop, it's a chop. Like, if you're really feeling this way, then like yeah, you should leave him. And I don't remember which there's I don't remember how we left the last time or the time before last. So I think I just stopped answering his text or whatever or something. But then there was another time where we met up again, same situation. I saw him on Tinder this time.
Mm.
So I swiped right. It was like a year or two, or a year and a half later maybe. I swiped on Tinder. He swiped right on me. I was like, oh, hey, this, that, and the third. We should hang out sometime. I was like, yeah. I was trying to forgive him, you know, because, girl, I'm going to be honest. He was really cute. He was really cute. Let me tell you, these cute people will be your downfall because they will scam you, especially in Atlanta.
Mm.
But yeah, he's like, okay, let's hang out, da da da. This is the time when carts were big. Remember when carts were big, like the little weed carts,
Girl, they still
THC
is.
carts.
They still
I
is.
mean, they still here, but they're not as big as they used to be back then. Like, especially in Georgia, like that was almost like the time everybody had them.
Mm.
Like, there was almost like a quick period, like I want to say a 2 month period where nobody was smoking weed and everybody was smoking carts. Like, but um, yeah. So I had a cart and I didn't have weed. So I was like, I just want to test him. This is me doing my little test. See, I am the person. That's me. I'll put you through a test without you even knowing. So like, if you fail test, you won't even know, but it's a chop. Like, you've already been chopped. That's how I start moving differently with people. They fail the silent test.
Alright.
But um, so basically, I was like, oh, I don't have any weed, but I would still like to hang out. Like, is that cool? And he's like, oh, this is like the old times. You always do this, that, and the third, da da da. Can't believe you don't like care or whatever, this, that, and the third. I just basically went off on him. I was like, dude, let me tell you, you just failed. Because I actually do. I have a cart. So he was like, oh, I was like, I have a cart. I just wanted to see if you really actually wanted to hang out with me, or if you wanted to, or if you wanted to just be like, um, if you're just coming for the weed. And it seems like you're only coming for the weed. So I really thought you changed. You didn't. This, yeah, I'm definitely not gonna think. And I remember what I did at this time. I drove all the way to the Mall of Georgia. I parked there and I told him this because I was like, I'm not driving all the way to his house again, just for him to like do this. Cause nah, I wanted to make sure. So I was at the halfway point from my house to his, and once he told me that, I was like, okay. And once I sent that text, he was like, okay, um, literally, he was like, okay, you don't have to be so emotional or whatever. Girl, I blocked him from that moment, and I haven't seen him since. And now I'm very wary, very, 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 very wary of people who ask me for money before like I really, really get to know them. Like you, Kiana, like all my besties, y'all can ask me for money. I would have no problem with y'all. But like if I've only known you for like less than 6 months and you're asking me for money, it's a red flag for me. You know, that's something that I've had to learn, and maybe that's not the case for everybody, but that's the case for me. That's my Legion story. Very, very hard. At the time, I mean, now looking back at it, it's very, very minuscule. It's very, very cheap. It's very, very kiddie story. But at the time, girl, like I think at the end of it, he ended up owing me like $400, and then like 200 in weed, basically.
It's about worth 600.
Yeah, almost a band. You know what I mean? So I am, and this was at a time where I was making like 825, 725, girl. Like it wasn't that much money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very weary of people like that, and I'm glad that it happened to me at a young age because that happening to me at a big age. That's why my motto is, especially when it comes to relationships, I ain't no groupie. Okay, I ain't no groupie. I ain't no piggy bank. I ain't no ATM. Like if we can't love for free, then your love ain't for me.
Mm.
No shade, no tea.
Clock
Um, but yeah, do you have a Legion story that you're comfortable sharing with
Shit,
the
which
people?
which one? You got
I mean, you do have a couple. I'll let you pick
I,
this
I have
shit.
a, I have a, I have a
Make it the
track.
most juiciest, most interesting one. Don't give us the boring one, please.
Man, my Legion story. Let's see.
Let's
Shit.
make it like let's. It really has to make you look like a dumbass, like, cause I
Well,
think
all
that's
of them. We're gonna talk about the chick that left me with the entire apartment and then falsely accused me in court.
oh,
Or we're gonna talk about the
yeah.
one that I ended up spending 15 grand on, and she ended up cheating on me. Or we're gonna talk about the one that I ended up buying an apartment for, and she pretty much turned me into a piggy bank. Or we're gonna talk about the chick who got mad at me, all because I fell asleep and did not tell her goodnight. Or like I have a decent ratio when it comes with dealing with women.
Yeah, and
Nothing too bad, I guess.
and for the people, before you ask, yes, they were.
Not all of them, not all of them, but yes, they were.
One of them, and even that girl, yes,
No, because there
they
was this one
were.
chick, also red flag, with her was the fact that she kept on asking for sex after I kept on telling her I was not feeling it. To the point where she would try to make a move on me, and I was a lot smaller, a little more petite, and voice not as loud and confident. So I let her. It wasn't a good. She was black.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. That
Y'all, you see,
makes.
y'all don't be knowing me. But I be telling y'all, I be around in these streets, dog. No,
Mm,
not to say to my baby at home. I love my baby at home now.
mm,
She's my baby at home now. But yeah. So shit. I mean, we could talk about the 15 grand one. Cause
mm.
that one, forever, I will look back as like, girl, how you end up spending 15K on a chick in less than 2 months, only for 3 months later, sorry, 4 months later on our anniversary, 3 days from my birthday, to not only admit to cheating, but try to physically, mentally, and verbally abuse me to the point where I had to get Kiki to come get me.
Yeah, let's talk about actually how that happened. And I was at home in bed sleeping, and no one called me.
Man, because it wasn't even meant for Kiki to get down there. Okay, so with this chick, right? This chick was also a quarantine bae to start off. You
Oh,
know,
yeah, this was around that time.
Actually, yeah, a year actually before the big mess happened. But to get a little backstory, I met her on Tinder. At this time, I had my own place. I was already dealing with a court case from my previous ex, who, by the way, fuck you, bitch. You thought you got me. Try again. Um, yeah, I was dealing with the previous court case. For, you know, the other one. So I was just kind of like low key. I was chilling and struggling at the same time. if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like I had my own place, but it was just trying to maintain that. So I met her on Tinder. We were talking for like a little bit. I gave it like 3 days, right?
Yeah.
I don't really know the specifics at this point. But then she wanted to come over and stay the night. So she came over, and I am not gonna lie, I am a romantic. So I took her out on a nice little picnic at this lake. We fed the turtles. You know.
Wait, pause. She wanted to stay the night with you after like talking for 3 days.
Mm-hmm. I'll get into that.
That's a red flag.
because
Red flag.
that was hey, and it was I'm used to it because I used to have girls like I thought it was just gonna be like a booty call session.
And that's the thing too. In terms of Risa Tisa, her relationship was like a straight relationship, cis straight relationship.
Mm.
My thing was a gay relationship, man on man. Yours is a lesbian relationship.
All my relationships were
And
lesbian relationships.
It's almost like,
except for like the two that were non-binary. I love y'all. Except for the last one.
So, oh yeah, you are non-binary now. Well, yeah. So you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's all different. We all come from like different like walks of life, and we all
experience different things in our relationships.
And the way we love basically too is different. Like, cause like I know like with gay men, like girl, it's hard to get a second date with a gay man. Like,
with lesbians, you after the second date, you're already asking each other, so when are you gonna move in? The lesbian love bombs.
Yeah,
beautiful. You again, you don't be knowing until it gets.
Yeah.
That's when all the red flags hit you at once, and you realize, holy shit.
And that's one of the points. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it with you, because I just wanted to basically show like it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter who you're dealing with. When we are dealing with the matters of the heart, everyone can get tricked, and everyone does stupid things, basically, So, but, yeah, continue. Right.
So, I was talking, I would say it like we were talking for like 3 days, right? Again, I don't know if it was 3 days, but it was definitely, camera died. It was definitely, it was definitely no longer than a week we've been talking. So, again, I took her on a nice little, like, picnic type date, and everything. Then she stayed a night. We did the bing, bam, boom. Homie fell in love with it. I can't blame her. I'll fall in love with myself too if I knew what I had to do. But yeah, so then the next day I woke up. She was making eggs and breakfast. I said, oh. Mind you, my previous girlfriend, my first ever girlfriend, never cooked. Couldn't cook. Can't cook. Love to say that, because of the college that I went to so happened to be a PWI, she assumed, mind you, I'm talking about my first ex. So she assumed that all the people I ever hung around with were, well, white people. No offense.
I'm saying.
So she would always, so my first ex would always say, you be having those white people food and it be not be tasting good and all this, that, and the third. And one day the bitch made me chicken seasoned with lemon juice and barbecue sauce. No salt, no pepper, no paprika. Mind you, she was of ethnic culture. So her mother knew how to cook, loved her mother's cooking, if she ever brought her mom's cooking around. Her herself could not cook. Regardless. Woke up the next morning with the girl I was texting on Tinder with. Woke up the next morning to her making me eggs and breakfast. Love that. So then she said that she had to go out and do something real quick and that she'll be right back. And I'm a type of person, I ask no questions. All right, do your thing. You know where I stay at. And I was not thinking that she would come back the next night.
Red flag. She said she was gonna come back the next night, or is she gonna come back like to finish this up?
She was gonna leave for a little bit and come back that same day. Like pretty much like, I'm going out real quick. I'll be right back. Type B.
Red flag.
Didn't ask any questions. Didn't wasn't really trying to pry into her business. I was thought again. It was the booty call. She just happened to make me breakfast. She's gonna be back. Oh, I got a continuous booty call. Mind you, this was just right before March 29th. I remember that. Before the whole COVID shit really hit down in Georgia, right? So, she comes back home, then COVID hits, so she's quarantined, stuck in with me, conveniently, right? Mind you, my apartment at the time, I only had like 2-3 months left on it. Sorry, I had 2 months on it left, because it ended up in May. We get into April, and then one day, I wake up, she's not there. So I'm like, oh, okay, she must have went out again. Hey. So she calls me, and she was like, hey, can you come pick me up? And I
Where
was
is
like,
she?
she was somewhere in Marietta. Mind you, I was not living in Marietta. She was somewhere in Marietta, probably like
Mm,
10, 20 minutes away from me, from her GPS. So I
mm.
go drive. It's like 6 in the morning, 6, 7 in the morning. I go drive. I pick her up from this like all glass type modern home. I'm like, it's like so clearly someone with money. So obviously the question in my head is, who the fuck?
I'm sick.
So homegirl comes running out, we jump into the car, and she's like, "Go!" And I'm like, "Okay." So you tell me no fucking
What?
twice. I go back home, and so she was telling me in the car ride, pretty much explaining to me what she does for a living, and what she does is that she would get on she'll get on these apps, right? Her most used one was Seeking Arrangements. To all my girlies that know, they know. And what she would do on these apps is that she would talk to these older men, clearly with money, and she would go out and quote unquote, to everybody out there, the girlies that know, hang out with them. Get about anywhere between $600 to $1,200 and then come back home.
You know I made a Seeking Arrangements account.
Girl, I'm telling you,
I never
that's how she
caught
made her money.
no fish. I ain't caught
She
no
caught
fish.
she caught a different fish every 3 to 4 days.
I'm telling you, it's different for the women. It's different for the women.
Especially
I
her.
know that.
She was, your conventionally attractive white woman, tall, blonde hair, blue eyes, big tits, no ass. Perfect, right? Um, so yeah, we get back to the crib, right? And I didn't really pry too deep because this brought me up to a similar situation of the first ever girl I've had any kind of sexual encounters with. And I was back in college, and I kind of dogged her a little bit because I found out that she was like selling like nudes on like a private page. And
Okay.
so
She was getting money.
old girl ended up cutting me off on that. So with this one, I was like, I'm not gonna pray because so far things are good. She claims that she's not having sex with them. I trusted her. So I was like, okay, if that's how you get your money, I mean, that's how you get your money. I mean, no one can't work now anyways. Fuck, we're in COVID, so we need some money. My rent is due, whatever. Cool.
Real quick about that. Everybody had a real COVID story. Okay, everyone's like, I did this. I was at home every day during COVID. I didn't do nothing. Babes, I was at work every day throughout COVID.
Baby,
I didn't have
I
no
had a time of
break.
my life during the COVID situation. No
I
cap.
had no
I was
break.
I was the richest I've ever been in my life. I was like, holy
Oh my
fuck.
fucking god.
This is what it
Like,
feels like to be decent. Damn.
like I
To actually pay
really
your bills?
I almost
Fuck.
feel like I did not have a COVID moment because like everybody talks about their COVID moment so differently, and I'm like, baby, I was going to work every day. I worked at a pizza place, and I was going to
Man,
work every day.
it was shit. It was definitely a moment, but so yeah, with this one, you know what I'm saying? She told me her little job, which by the way, she, and I quote, would rather do this, or sorry, she would rather go to Ron's and make $800 to $900 for 8 hours of staying there than working at a job for 2 weeks and getting paid the same. Mind you, this is all under the table work. It obviously was not taxed, so clearly,
Yeah.
baby, I still got you on my radar. Trust me, whistleblowers on IRS. Try
Word.
me. But yeah, so she told me her little job thing. Didn't say too much about it. Bada bing, bada boom. Staying at my place, right? A couple days later, right, she tells me that, oh, her friend needs a place to stay. I don't know what red flag number this is at this point, but mind you, this is still within less than a month of us knowing each other, right? So I was like, sure, I guess your friend can stay here for a little bit. So here comes her friend, by the way, her co-escort. Because girls travel in packs always when dealing with men. So don't just, when you think you see one, there's probably 2 or 3 on speed dial with her. And there was. So this is her friend that she would go to these older men's house, drink, take all types of drugs, get their money and dip. And then the girl came over, and then both of them apparently were at that glass house. And the reason why she ran out the way she did is because they stole money from him. They went into her drawer, grabbed the rest of his money, and dipped. They book it. Homegirl took an Uber somewhere else, and the other girl called me, and that's why I ended up picking her up, right? So yeah, so homegirl stays, right? Brings her friend over. Her friend brings the entirety of her personal items into my apartment. Sets them down in the living room. Was sleeping on the couch while we slept in the room for like 2, 3, 4 days. right? So then after that, I'm telling her, I'm like, hey, yo, man, like, is your friend gonna stay? Because this apartment ain't, first off, there
Big
ain't no
enough for,
room.
you know.
It's a one bed, one bath apartment, first and foremost, right? And two, my lease is ending up at the end of the month, so I don't know what homegirl got to do with this, right?
I'm absolutely sick.
Right. So, homegirl leaves, they do their little shebangs together, go down to Atlanta, see her main man, Ron, this like rich Jewish guy down in Atlanta. Yeah, name dropping. And that man would pay her and her friend, $800-900. Come home with it. She would spend 100 of that on weed. The rest she would just put away, or she'll use it to buy clothes or purses, perfumes, girl stuff. So apartment ends. I move all of my stuff out into storage. She helps me. And we're pretty much homeless because during COVID time, I was with her. She actually lived in Gwinnett County. Like, she's from Gwinnett County. Like, she went to Mill Creek.
I think we did talk about that, like one of the two times that we saw her.
Yeah, yeah. She went to
Makes sense.
and everything. So I was pretty much living with her guy friend that was a cop, like a 57, 60-year-old black man who only lived by him. He lived by himself because he divorced from his wife, and his wife had a kid. So he lived by himself, and she would come over and clean, cook for him, wash his dishes, do his laundry.
Your girlfriend.
My girl at the time. Make up his bed, organize his clothes. So obviously, I got an eyebrow on that. Because, bitch, who the f is this nigga? This 60-year-old.
That's a red ass flag.
So I'm thinking it's like a she's helping out the old folk type beat, right? To the point, and then
Not with her occupation.
Exactly. I wasn't putting two to two together, but I was giving her the benefit of a doubt, right?
I was sick.
So we move into this. So I didn't move into this guy's place. I just kind of stayed at this guy's place for a couple of weeks. I did not like it because obviously I want my own space. I'd rather sleep in my fucking car than sleep at this guy's house.
How was that?
Not. It wasn't terrible in the sense of like his house was like dirty because obviously she kept it clean. And we watched TV. We still went out to eat and shit. Like we still did our shit, but we just used his place as a way to rest our heads.
Was he present?
Not all the times. And the times that he was present, I made sure to limit my presence. She, on the other hand, was just free blowing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is everyday normal shit to her.
And it only lasted for like a couple of weeks?
Or me staying there because I was like, at this point, fuck it, I want my own place. And we were looking around. Because at the time, not only did I get my unemployment money, I got back paid. So, the unemployment gave me like $5,000. And then at the job that I was working at this one job, racetrack, and I knew this person there who, let's just say she knew people, and I ended up getting a little bit extra money, an extra $10,000. So then I was like, oh shit, now we can get any fucking apartment.
She knew people how?
She knew, it's Atlanta. You know the people she knew. So.
So, they helped you...
I was able to get a little bit of
more money than was expected.
A lot more money than I expected. A lot more money than I expected.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood what was happening.
Right. So, also she also knew people that were able to help people get into apartments, in various ways.
Oh.
So I ended up working through that program and getting me an apartment with her.
And your at the time girlfriend like introduced you to these people?
No. These people were at work. I introduced myself to the people at work. It's just that person knew a lot of other people in Atlanta that helped me. And so all the person at work told me was, all you need to do is just pick a place, let him know, and he would help you get into the apartment. So, I did my thing, paid $1,400, and I told my girlfriend at the time, whatever apartment that you want, pick it. We'll get it. No questions asked. She picked it. So we ended up still staying in Marietta. Nice place. 2-bath, 2-bed, 2-bath house right off the highway. That's the one that you know about. The wooden floors and everything. And so the moment we got in there.
Nice apartment.
Right.
It was a really nice apartment.
Very nice apartment. And you know, the moment we got in there, she had to accessorize the entirety of the apartment, which I left to her. I was like, "Babe, do what you want. I got you the place. Fucking, you know, decorate it any way you want." And she did. She
No
did.
shade, no tea. It wasn't that decorated.
That's what she wanted.
It was a nice couch. It
Mm-hmm.
was a cute dining room table.
Bro, that dining room table, bro. Let me tell you how we fucking fought that shit. You know that shit was like 10 pounds, or not 10 pounds. It was like 400 pounds.
It was. It looked heavy.
That shit was heavy as fuck.
Like,
But regardless, so I did all this shit. And I even told her that since I had this money on the side, that she didn't need to do her little escorting business because I
I'm
had the
trying to
money.
get her out. I'm sick.
I had the money to pay for us. Like I will take care of us. You can just sit at home. I told her I gave her the option. You can just sit home, smoke weed, take care of the 2 dogs that we had at the time, and not worry about it on a single damn thing. I'll work. I don't mind working,
I'm
especially since I
sick.
had the money in my bank account to kind of have like a back point.
Now
Whatever.
you turning her into a housewife.
I ain't never turn her to a housewife, right?
I'm
So
sick.
my mistake though was letting her know that I had that kind of money. Cause then all of a sudden it came to I want to go out to eat. All right, where at? The most expensive restaurant in Marietta. Oh, I want to go
What
to.
was that?
Well, we went to many places. We went to Max. We went to Capitol Grill, which is a very, very, very expensive restaurant in Buckhead.
How much did that like?
Raised on the river.
How
For
much
each
was the average like receipt on one of these places?
in terms of like my bill.
Yeah,
My average on these bills, mind you, just the two of us, about $300. Just
crazy.
about. You know that you're not including tip with that.
Crazy. Dinner for $200-$300.
And I would always tell her the special little motto: you get whatever you want. Don't worry about it.
You know, I need someone to treat me the way you treat you.
Man, I thought I treated her like a princess, right? And granted, yeah, I had my insecurities because you know, mind you, when we would go out together, yeah, she would you know get dolled up, you know, she would look cute, but when she would go out with these men to do her little dinner dates or her
She was
little
just to the
hangouts,
tens.
it would be like seeing a whole different person. Like, who is this, right? Like, why don't you do that to me? Right? So she would do these, right, these jobs. She would get ready at like 8 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
leave at around 9 o'clock at night, and I would not hear from her until about 10 o'clock in the morning. Not here. You know, I would text her, call her, nothing. Eventually, she ended up getting annoyed by that. And I'm like, well, sorry for fucking wondering where the fuck you're at after 10 hours of not knowing where the hell you're at, right? You just said you're going out on a date with going out on some dinner shit with some dude, and you don't fucking pick up the phone after like 5 hours. Hell yeah, I'm gonna blow up your fucking shit. Cause
Yeah.
hell, I know you could have been in the fucking chains and shit on your way to Cabo.
So at this point, are you guys like official?
We were official.
Mm.
And it was this point too that she also made it known we were official to her little cop friend, who did not like me. Because he felt like I was taking away her attention. Because I would be like, he's a grown ass man. You tell me he can't do his own fucking laundry. He has to have he being almost a 60-year-old man has to have a 25-year-old do his laundry. I can see why his wife left.
Like,
Still do. Also, his toes were ugly as fuck.
and
Toes were fucking cockeyed. He had like overgrown. Like,
as
sir,
soon as you say he had ugly feet, I already can envision them. Like it's
I'm
that
telling
bad.
you, bunions, all that shit. Corns, all that shit. Oh my god. Hey, whatever, dog. But you know,
Oh my
bottom
gosh.
line, right? Eventually, we started arguing because I started inquiring more and more into what she does specifically with these men. Because she'll show me videos, mind you.
Of what?
Like I'm telling you, like the dude the main dude that she went to, bro, he wanted to be Hugh Hefner in another life. Like he wanted to be surrounded by nothing but younger women,
Yeah.
sleepovers. They're naked, hitting each other with
Girl,
pillows,
that's
doing
most
cocaine.
men. I'm telling you that right now. Why do
Bruh,
you think
but
Dubai is such a hot place?
bruh, She might as well went to. I won't be surprised she went to Dubai and got herself
I'm
shit
actually
on.
surprised she didn't go to Dubai. She would nah. You know what? Let me tell you
Nah,
something.
cause homegirl also comes back from a. She comes from a racist background. Yeah, again,
No,
there's a lot to this. There's a
no,
lot to this
that and let
relationship.
me
No
tell
cap.
you, no shade, no tea, girl. I don't think she would have been good enough for Dubai.
Oh no.
I
By
don't
no
think she would have
means.
been
No.
like in terms of what she does. She gives me
She was good for Georgia.
she gives me low shelf.
Yeah,
Low
she was
mid shelf.
good. She was good for Georgia.
Yeah, in terms of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about in America, low shelf. If we're talking
Very
in
much.
the world, bottom shelf.
Fuck,
Basement
I would
shelf.
even say she's good for Gwinnett County, I guess.
Even
I
worse,
guess.
girl.
I
Gwinnett
can't
County's not
even.
that girl.
No, because Atlanta has a bunch of beautiful women, and
Yeah.
granted, at the time, I thought she was beautiful. Until you really get to know someone, and you realize the intelligence wasn't there, ignored it. The attitude wasn't there, ignored it. Then the love wasn't there.
I will tell you this, B. I like there are times where you make me realize like maybe one of the reasons why I have not been in a relationship is because I just do not have love eyes the way you do. Like your love lenses, the way that you can overlook a person's look and see like them for their true souls at the time is amazing. Me sometimes like, and maybe this is why also I haven't been in a relationship because people do the same thing to me.
Yeah,
But I can't get past like sometimes like the if I don't think you're cute or if I don't like your personality, how am I supposed to get with you?
right, exactly.
So I do
But
commend
like,
that about you.
but like everyone always puts up a front. You know, you have to really wait till after 6 months to
Yeah.
see if that front is still there.
Yeah.
And granted, after 6 months, we were still decently strong. I say decently because again, I was still inquiring every week. I would inquire deeper and deeper as to what she does. Now, she showed me a video because he would take videos, and she showed me one video where it was like 4 or 5 of them, right? Like girl wise, you got the one dude and like 4 or 5 of the girls. One girl, and mind you, he lived in a penthouse suite somewhere in fucking Buckhead, so on the very tippy top. One girl was fucking, I kid you guys not. One girl was fucking herself what do you call that?
The dresser.
The mirror. Like so you know like the rich penthouses in Atlanta that have like the all glass view around the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dildo on. She was fucking herself on the mirror. She liked that shit. She like public play like that whole exhibitionism shit.
I mean, she's on the top shelf in Buckhead. Like no one.
Also,
really
she was
clocking her
also
like
the girl that we did a threesome with.
You
twice.
done a threesome before,
Twice.
man.
She also got jealous and mad at me about that because again, I'm good at what I do.
I want to do a threesome. I would love to do one, but that's actually insane. So that one girl was just fucking herself. What
Right.
were the other girls doing?
The other girls were just either doing drugs. Two of them were making out. From my video, 2 were making out. One girl was fucking herself, and my girlfriend, and the other girl were just doing drugs. Cause my ex-girlfriend loved Xanax. Xans were her shit.
But Xans were big back then.
Bruh, I'm telling you, bro, she was so bad with it that she was bad with Xans and weed. And I can't stand. Okay, so there's a difference between stoners and there's a difference between fucking potheads.
Yeah.
That bitch was a fucking pothead. Like, I'm talking like there's people on this fucking earth that the first thing they have to do in the morning is smoke weed, or else they'll go into either a panic attack or an anxiety attack, or I'm throwing up, my stomach hurts. Baby, you got a problem. I've been smoking weed since I was 18, and I've never, ever had that problem. Never once woke up in a cold sweat. Never once thought to myself, oh my God, I need to smoke this or I'm going to throw up and I'm going to feel like a terrible. Yeah. No.
This is regardless of the people who actually have like medical conditions, mind you.
Mind you.
Like, yeah.
No, like this is like, addiction.
Yeah. I've met her, so I know exactly what she's talking about. But I know y'all in the internet, y'all don't. So.
Addiction shit. Now, granted, she did suffer from panic attacks. She did suffer from, epilepsy. Not a lot. I've never.
Did you ever see her like?
Seize out?
Yeah.
She claims the only time she ever seizes is when she's highly emotional. That's the only time where she'll start seizing. So I don't know the mental complications to all my medical girlies out there. If you can put into the comments a reason why that happened, that was her. That was her telling me that she only have those when she's high emotions. But regardless, she would show me these videos, and I would be like, I don't like that. Mind you, I love women and women on women action. I don't give a fuck who you are. I even like my girlfriend doing women action. I never had a problem with that. I had a problem with you walking around. By the way, they're all naked. I have a problem with you walking
Like
around
fully.
dead, bare ass, titties and all. I have a problem with you walking around naked in another man's house for his pleasure. For his pleasure.
Not only that, how much was she making? That's the other question. Let's like no shade, no tea. If she was making like $5,000 a night,
No, I kid you not. The most she
I
ever
would understand.
made wasn't even with that guy. It was like some Asian dude. But the most she's ever made in one night, 15? 1,500? And the least she has made is 300. And mind you, she would have her regular customers, her regular clients, excuse me, sorry. But every week, or for me, it seemed like every couple of days, someone new. Sure, she'll have the same ones that she'll go to here now and then, but for the most part, it'd be a new person, new face. So then you got to think about it, right? I was also inquiring as to, what she was really doing. Then you got to think about the aspect of we still had COVID going around. She was not vaccinated. I was not vaccinated. I don't know who the fuck you're fucking around with. I could bring that shit back home.
Did you get tested with her?
No.
Have you still not got tested with her?
What? Like COVID-wise?
Yeah, not even COVID, but just like.
Oh, STD-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm still clean.
Like, cause, like you said, you don't know who she was with.
And that's what I'm saying, but I didn't do the thing about it. It didn't hit me. I didn't do it immediately, but I did do it last year. Because
Okay.
I mean, it was kind of just about time type deal.
Okay, that's
And
fine.
You just got to do it. Honestly, do it from your physicals too. It's just
Yes,
easier if you do
I
it with
mean,
your physicals.
she's on her own thing, but yes, please do it more frequently than her.
At least how I mean, depending on how sexually active, you want to do it every 3 to 6 months.
Like,
Depending on how
yes.
sexually active. The more sexually
Yes.
active, the more often you want to go.
Yes, if you're very sexually active, like a porn star, please be doing that every week. Honestly, no shade, no tea. And
Especially if you're
going to
be doing it with different partners. Please stay safe out there. We have some high rates of
Yes.
STDs in this country,
especially in Georgia.
Especially here.
Please,
Right.
please.
Herpes are on the ride, bro.
And no shade, no tea. Do as I say, not as I do. And we've all had lessons. Long story short, ended up with gonorrhea.
It happens.
It's not fun. I'll tell you that right now. It's not fun.
But see, I did. This is not to say that I didn't believe everything she said. When it came to her little job, because there was some stuff that I was like, okay, she might have some merit with it.
Yeah.
But it was how defensive she would get about the questions. Granted, I would try not to. I think I try not to be too invasive as to what exactly are you doing. But more so, who was there? What did you guys do? Did you do any drugs? Because she would come home either like dead ass fucking tired or sprung the fuck up on something. She would bring back home Molly, ecstasy, and I would sell it off to the side because also during the time I was selling shit because I was bored. I was at home, I had money. I sold, So, I was deeping into that avenue. She loved that because, I would always have, weed available anywhere.
Yeah.
She loved that. But, yeah. So, I started asking about the nature of her, her job. Asking her about the nature of her relationship with the older fella because, it was a lot closer than friends, right? So then it got to the point where she just stopped telling me about it. I stopped asking because we started arguing. The relationship was very much at a crevice. So I just told myself, for the sake of everything, just not to dwell on it, right? Like we have a good thing. We have a good thing here. We're trying to build ourselves. She was really I thought she was really, really into me, even going by my last name at some points. So I was like, you know what? If it's not brought into light, it won't ruin anything. Am I right?
Yeah.
So, again, ignoring it for the sake of the relationship. Then we had our big fight. We had our first big fight, and I left to go stay at my friend's house. Remember Vanessa?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, miss her. Miss you, Vanessa.
Where is she?
Homegirl chilling.
Oh, okay.
She got her little art business going on. She got herself a boo thing. She
Yeah,
living life.
yeah.
She living life large. Good for you,
Good
girl.
for her.
Good for her. Also a great friend too. Like, I really honestly wish I would have kept up communications with her because,
You probably still say what's up. Like,
yeah, yeah. But granted, though, like, she kind of did warn me about this girl. And did
mm,
I ever tell you how her and Vanessa almost fought?
no,
So,
girl.
so the first, okay, so there's a lot of shit that happened, right? So, I left for our first fight. I went to go stay at Vanessa's place for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I just needed some space. She was close, and I just needed someone that kind of just had some familiarity with. So she was definitely though like doing how you do. Like, I don't think this is right for you. I don't think this is
Mm-hmm.
good for you. And I was like, I honestly kind of believed it, but she called me, right? And she was like, why did you leave me? Why does everybody leave me? I thought you told me you're never gonna leave me. And that kind of tugged at me. I was like, fuck, okay. So came back, right? And we tried to talk it out, but she said that it was a boundary. There's boundaries that I just can't cross.
Yeah.
Essentially, just don't talk about them no more.
So when did it like? So how did she get into it with Vanessa?
So the second time we fought, I left again, and I was at this point I was just done. I was over it,
Mm.
done with it.
So did Vanessa go over there and confront her?
So I went back over to Vanessa's, and I was like heartbroken, right? And Vanessa's just like, come on, let's get your stuff.
Yeah.
You can stay with me for a little bit, until you figure what you need to do out, and whatnot. Again, beautiful friend. So Vanessa drove my car. We drove back up to the place. She's in the apartment, right? So she obviously gets defensive because I come in
With someone.
with another woman, a woman
Mm-hmm.
very, very attractive, by the
Yeah.
way.
Vanessa, she's actually a bad.
Well, she is a baddie. No,
Yeah.
no, all respect, by the way, all respect.
Yeah, I'm gay, but you know what I'm saying. Like, if,
So yeah, so I mean, obviously, I felt the tension the moment I came in. I was like, fuck, maybe I should have Vanessa wait in the car, but no. So I grabbed my stuff. Vanessa was just kind of waiting at the door, I guess, just to watching her. So X at the time flapping her gums. Oh, so you're gonna go around and you're gonna go and hang around with this bitch?
ooh.
Ooh, and I was like thinking in my head like, oh, you would not know Vanessa.
Yeah.
Oh shit. She might fucking okay. So I'm already kind of like getting in between her and Vanessa because Vanessa's just like, huh? And like walks up closer. So I get in between them
Yeah.
with the pile of like my clothes and everything. And I'm like, I'm just grabbing my stuff and I'm getting out. I'm grabbing my dog too and I'm just getting out. You can have the apartment for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So she's like, so she does something and she like shoulder checks me. Now, mind you, I was not expecting it. I was also a little bit smaller than
So
her.
you're like, ugh.
So you know me. You shoulder check me, I kind of go flying.
Yeah.
And I kind of did. I hit the our TV stand.
Ah.
So Vanessa's just like, oh, so you want to put your hands on her, and so and everything, anything, whatever that Vanessa tried to get up close to her. I was like, Vanessa, it's okay, it's cool. Vanessa's like, no, I'm gonna give her a chase of her own medicine. She called 911.
I'm sick. That's
And,
actually petty.
and the moment she calls 911, the ex dipped.
I'm absolutely sick.
The cops come. I tell the cops, it's okay, it's fine, it's nothing big. She did shove me, but it's fine, it's whatever. Cops, cops. All right, well, it's not serious, bye, type B.
Yeah.
So grab our stuff, we leave, whatever. Didn't hear a word from her. And I was at this point staying at my mom's. Fast forward, so this was like the end of December, because I ended up getting my job back at
Yeah.
Starship, right? Fast forward to about March-ish. Mind you, I've been staying at home for the past like 2 months. She reached out and was just like, hey, I'm going to have someone else move into the apartment to help out with the rent. Mind you, it was me and her both paying the rent. And at this point, by the way, my money is dry. That money that I had, gone. All spent on food, rent, weed, and we took 2 trips to Florida. One to Dunedin, the other one to PCB. Dunedin, we stayed for 7 days. PCB, we stayed about for 5 days. It was during the election. So my money was all spent between the 2 trips, the paying for the apartment, getting the apartment, paying for the furniture, food, all that, right? So she gets another
Good
roommate.
sugar mama.
Right. So she gets another roommate, which turns out to be another one of her escort friends. Not surprised, are we,
Makes sense.
ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm still thinking about her. Right. I still loved her. Like, I hated how things were. I missed her. I missed the apartment. I missed our dog that we had together.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted it back. So granted, again, we haven't really talked like that for, the 2 months after that. So, I came back down because it's gearing up to be our anniversary.
This is how it ends, right?
hmm April 1st, right? So I go down and I'm like, I want to take you back out to a nice dinner. I want to come home and, I want us to sit down, talk, and come to a compromise in a relationship. So I take her out to this one restaurant. It was Juicy Crab. Juicy Crab,
I love juicy crab.
right? Juicy Crab. And we're sitting at the bar because, conveniently all the tables were booked.
Yeah.
And she wanted a mojito. She only wanted a mojito.
Do they have those there?
No. The bartender told her, sorry, we don't have any rum at this moment, but we do have this, that, and a third. And she's like, no, I want a mojito. So I guess the dude must have said something underneath her tongue. And she looked up at me and she's like, so you're not going to say anything? I was on my phone the whole time. Because I'm like, girl, you can get any other alcoholic drink. It's alcohol.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to give me a margarita. You know what I'm saying? So I look up from my phone. I'm like, wait, what? She's like, and she's mad at me because I guess he must have said something underneath her breath and I didn't say anything. So I was like, okay, well, that's fine. We can go out to another restaurant. We don't need to stay here. You want seafood? We can go out and get seafood. So we go to another restaurant. We sit down, and about 10 minutes of us sitting down, she's like, I just want to go in the car. So I order the food to go. She goes sit in the car. I get the food. We get back into the apartment because it was quiet on the car ride. We get back, and I'm like, okay, what's wrong? And so she goes off on me about how I can't even, to be honest, folks, I can't even remember what she said or how she went off on me. All I know was just that I was just so frozen in shock of all the things that she had to say to me. Like, it felt like I dissociated. And I only kind of came back to earth when she was trying to get me to leave. And I was like, this is my...
Get the fuck up on my house.
Right. I was like, this is my apartment.
You pay for.
This is my apartment that I got for us. And granted, we're not going to talk about the intricacies about the lease, but it's pretty much my apartment. I'm responsible for this. So fuck no, I'm not leaving my apartment. And she was like, well, fine then. So she gets on the phone, and she's on the phone with somebody. And she's like, yeah, Shawty ain't going to leave. Calling me Shawty. And I'm like, who?
That was racist.
Her family's racist. Her brother called me a nignag. We're gonna talk about her. Her mother voted for Trump. Thought Trump was fucking God incarnate. But yeah, she's like, yeah, Shawty won't leave. So then she gets the phone and she's like, oh yeah, you're gonna leave real soon. Yeah, you better leave now because you don't want girl. You don't want. She didn't say girl. She's like, you don't want them to come up. And I didn't even say anything to her. I'm just still shocked at the spiel she said at me. Like, heart,
you guys didn't call me during this
like
time.
my heart went from like this to like this in like slow motion. Like the world seemed to stop. I was just so zoned out over my heart breaking. So obviously she was trying to get my attention. She's trying to get me out the house. So first thing she tried to do was yell and scream in my ear, like yell at the top of her. That woman can yell. She could scream. Top of her fucking lungs, right next to my ear, where the mic is, right next to my ear.
I'm saying.
When that didn't work, I didn't have any reaction because, again, dissociated. Like, trauma. Trauma is building right now. You're causing me trauma right now. When that didn't work, she grabbed a water bottle and dumped all the water on my head. When I didn't have a reaction, she spat on me. When that didn't have a reaction that she wanted, she went into the kitchen, grabbed an apple, and chucked it on the side of my head. Like, it barely missed me, but it clashed against the glass thing. And I kind of, like, pinged me out, because I'm like, whoa, hey, I look down at my shirt, see her spit on my shirt. I'm, like, wet, covered in water. And I'm, like, spiraling back in. So, again, I'm on the floor. At this point, my glasses are off. I can't see. I'm just staring at the floor in just utter disbelief of what's fucking happening, right? I never experienced this kind of abuse in my life. And so then the door knocks. And then it's her. The door knocks.
Hey,
She
twin.
opens the door, and I kid you not, I don't, I don't ugly shame, cause the beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. But if this was supposed to be your upgrade, baby girl, you downgraded like 4 or 5 levels. Because in came in was the most rottenest stud. Like, I'm talking like, this is
I'm
like a
dead.
Kmart stud. What I thought were like yellow grills, I turned to realize that's just her fucking teeth. Hair nappier than a motherfucker.
I'm sick.
Like, I'm talking like, what? And not only did she bring herself, she brought her kid.
She brought her kid?
A kid, like a 7-year-old, that was asleep. So she had to put the kid in the room. Also, she came in with a machete.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that,
Mm-hmm.
girl.
So, she tries to flash me the machete. I ain't fucking moving. Bitch, I'm not scared of you.
Why didn't you tell me?
Because at
I
this
would have rolled
point,
up with my gun.
if you gonna do it, bitch. If you just trying to sit here and intimidate me on my own fucking apartment, be glad I'm not calling the cops right now because I'm in full fucking shock. So they're both like at this point terrorizing me, verbally, saying all types of things like, "Oh yeah, you're wondering why the couch is wet? Yeah, I was here last night." Type beat, because homegirl can. So I'm just like, like at this point there is nothing coming out of me. I don't even think I blinked. Type beat. So they started getting. But the thing about it is that like while I was dissociating, I can still hear. Like my auditory was
Yeah.
still there. So I was hearing them, and she did sound a little worried, like, "Oh my God, she's not moving. She's not. She's not. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get her out of here." Because she did try to force me to move, but she couldn't. Like, I was a block. Like, I'm like in my avatar state. Like, you can't get
I'm
to me.
sick.
So then, it's like 30 minutes. They're like still going egging on. The door knocks again. Opens it up, and I hear a familiar voice. Is that
I'm
her right
sick.
there? And then I feel a
I'm
hand touch my
sick.
shoulder, and Kiki gets down in front of me, and she's like, "Come on, Brie, let's get out of here." And that's what woke me up.
I'm so mad.
That's what woke me
Ooh,
up.
I would have been breaking dishes up in that bitch. Ooh, I would have been coming in. It would have been quiet. It would not have been quiet. It would have been an altercation.
And you know what's funny?
And
I
I
still
would
have it
had
on
a
the
gun.
Snapchat. So, so yeah. I woke up because Kiki was there, and Kiki kind of brought me back out into trance. And like I finally like blinked a couple times and realized what I was at. And next thing I know, I'm crying because like it's like, it all hits. So Kiki brings me out, and everything. And at that point outside, that's where I let out the emotions.
Like, yeah.
And they're laughing at me from the fucking balcony. So, we drive over to the Waffle House to kind of get away from there, and that's where I kind of explained to Kiki what happened, and I filmed it too. I actually have the video of me explaining to Kiki exactly all what happened that
I'm
night,
sick.
and I think I still have it too in my Snap story.
You gotta show it to me after.
So yeah, we both agreed. She brought me back. I got into my car. I left, and we came back up here. And then you know what I did?
What?
I stopped paying the rent. She sent me money for it. I kept it.
Ooh.
And I think she got evicted because they're saying they're gonna come in and be like, "Oh, you're not the person that's the lease owner. Who's the lease owner?" Well, I don't know. Get out. All your shit. Every single piece of furniture that you bought up in there. Yeah, figure what to do with it, bitch.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, it was in my eyes.
Like,
Funny enough, though, a couple months later, we actually hit each other back up. But that was honestly, we only hung out with each other twice, and then I stopped it at all, because the first time we re-hung back out each other, we were at a bar somewhere in Lawrenceville, and she got super drunk, and I was like, what you did, you're a complete asshole for what you did, and she was like, well, yeah, so were you for what you did, and I said, what did I do? She couldn't say anything. All she kept on saying was, I miss you. I miss what that pink looked like.
Over.
Listen, right?
It's over.
Then the second time we hung out, she was staying at a place over in Winder because she didn't want to go home. She didn't want to go home because she comes from a fucking broken home. Her fucking dad molested her. Her dad and her older brother fucking molested her when she was a kid. Girl never had any fucking therapy for that, which is why I think
She's so broken.
that and why she strives so hard for the validation and the attention of men
Yeah.
to this point, right?
Yeah.
And that she only called herself a lesbian because, in my personal opinion, it's an easier relationship. Because, like, can you think about being with a man and then telling the man, oh, by the way, I'm gonna go see other men? Yeah, no way.
Like,
Right? Now, not saying that other lesbians wouldn't have said the same thing too, but she probably played her chances smarter on that direction. But yeah, I got into my car crash, uh, where I was pretty much busted up. That's when I lost my Toyota, and that's the last time I saw her. And I'm glad I never did. But we were like, after we were done smoking and everything, we were sitting outside, and she was like staring at me, and I was staring at her, and like the urge, it came, and I was like, no, I can't. And that's it. I never hit it back up again.
thank God.
Cause
Thank fucking God. Because, ooh, every time you talk about that night, I always get pissed off. I'm like, ah.
hey man, I get pissed off too, right? Cause that was 2021.
Yeah.
It was like 3-4 years ago. I mean, and to some people that's like a short amount of time. For me, I'm a completely different person than I am today than I was 4 or 5 years ago. Because baby, had I been who I am right the fuck now and you had done that shit, different story. Different story. Most likely been toning from jail.
Like, honestly, probably.
And you know what? She's very lucky because I am the queen of petty. I'm an Aries baby.
Like,
And it was only because Kiki said you don't want that negative karma to come back on you that I wasn't gonna do what I was gonna do to get her ass in jail, which was gonna be easy. It would have been so easy, and I would have gotten money from it. So you're lucky that Kiki stood up to you. Had I not listened to Kiki, your ass would have been in jail.
you don't have to tell me what that was after the pod, but that sounds funny as hell. Like,
Kiki, I told Kiki what I was gonna do. And Kiki's like, you don't want that negative karma on you, bro. You just want to just leave her alone. Kiki, me too.
Maybe that's why you talk to Kiki. Cause my answer, I would have been like, do it, girl. Unless, I'm gonna probably have to find out what it was first. But like for me, I would have been like, girl.
Well, think about it. Here. I'll let the folks at home know what it was, what my plan was, right? Because you're sitting here, right, telling me, and I have text message proof, right, that you are doing things that cannot be taxed. And that's how you make your income.
Oh.
Did you know that the IRS has a whistleblower page? Pretty much a page for snitches. You don't need that much information.
That's how you report someone to the IRS.
And I could have. Easily. Because I had her information. The only thing I didn't have was her social security. But goddamn, I knew her first, middle, last name, date of birth, her home address.
Girl, yeah, they wouldn't even have needed their social security. They probably could have found it.
Had the reason and the proof and the receipts. Kiki said, nah. You don't want that negative karma.
Yours is even crazier than mine. Like,
And that's just one.
Mine is like level 1. Yours is level 2. Risa Tisa's is like level 50. But all in all, this is why we have red flags. This is why you need to pay attention to them. This is why you need to stop making excuses for people and stop paying attention to the potential and start getting into the reality of them.
Yeah. But to be honest, I think that red flags are something that you need to see in relationships.
Yeah.
Because that, in my personal opinion, every relationship that I'm in should be and is better than the last. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. The time that I had with that bitch was a lot better than the previous bitch.
Like,
and the bitch after her was decent.
I don't know. Actually, now that you're saying it, like, the first girl I don't think was as bad as she was.
Well, the first girl also, first of all, was also very verbally abusive. She wasn't around a lot. Like, as in, like, did not know where she was at. She would get mad at me for going out and drinking. Granted, a very reasonable thing to be mad about somebody, but also I'm an adult, consenting adult. I ask you to come with me. You say no. I say, okay, well, I'm going to go get me a drink at the bar and I'll be back.
Yeah.
Granted, I was also young. I think with her, I was just turned 21. So I'm like, I got a doink, baby. But with that one, because I ended the relationship, because this bitch went on a quote-unquote mission trip for 3 days, and I did not hear from her.
Yeah.
After we just fought, I was like, oh, bitch, I already know what the fuck you doing. I'm gonna catch you before you do it. Break up. And because we broke up, she wanted to get out of the lease. And granted, I was being petty. I was like, fuck no, I'm not getting you out of this fucking
I'm
lease.
sick, girl.
You're gonna pay me the fucking money that you agreed to in the beginning of the relationship. You can go stay with your moms. You can stay here. I don't care. We're just not together. Homegirl didn't like that, right? So she filed first off, a fake police report off of an argument we had in the past. Then she went to the courts and said, using that police report to say, mind you, I never talked to the cops, never did anything, never touched her, right? She said in the court docs, man, I wish I fucking had it, right? She said in the court docs that I not only wanted to cause myself harm, I wanted to cause her harm, and I wanted to cause harm to everyone else.
I'm sick.
She said that I was an alcoholic, I was a drug abuser, and I abused a plethora of drugs. I've only done weed and shrooms, folks. And at the time,
sick.
only weed. I was scared of shrooms.
I'm sick.
And she said at one point during one of our fights, I had like white foam coming out of my mouth for how mad I was. Like you look at the court docs, you look at this, and you be like, "Yo,
Yeah,
what?"
I know how it's hilarious when people lie on you on court documents. My sister did the same thing to me.
But you know what's hilarious? She listed herself as white. She was not white, but I know why she did that. And she also listed me as
She was white. She was white.
Listen, she also listed me.
She looked like she might have had some native in her, but she was white.
Baby, she was, you know, of the country right below us.
She was white.
Yeah, not the natives, maybe, but hey, none of my
Yeah.
business, right? But it's just
She was trying to get that shit expedited too.
but exactly because she put for my description as 5'7", like 160. Look at me. Do I look 5'7", 160?
Yeah, girl. Like you skinny mini. Show them that arm.
Like
I'm
it's like
sick.
160 to y'all, but hey,
Like,
she put in the court and the judge granted it,
like that's absolutely insane.
which started a downward spiral of depression for me. But hey, we got
I
out of
get
it,
it.
only to go back into it, to get
Yeah.
out of it, and I didn't go back into it after my last ex, because that one honestly was just I
It
can't.
was
I ain't-
more reasonable. Like it didn't
no,
go
that
down
one
in
she
flames.
did
like
the same
that one.
exact thing as the first. The only thing is I caught her before she did it, because I already knew what the fuck she was doing.
I mean, at least you learned from the first relationship.
Exactly, what I'm saying is that you learn
see,
as you
Shoot.
go.
You live and you learn. That is like
She
the
thought
perfect.
she had the last one. By the way, last one, fuck you. She thought she had me,
That's like.
and I was like, "Baby girl, I've already seen this episode. Let me show you how it ends."
And I feel like that's the perfect way to close this segment off, just because that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to learn from the red flags. You're not supposed to get into it again. You're not supposed to fall for them. You only do those mistakes once, especially with these people, man.
Well, I mean, granted, the red flags. I mean, I still did the same, like types of red flags, but my thing is like because of how my first ex treated me, when my
Yeah.
last ex was trying to do her little sneaky scheme shit, I caught that shit. I like that.
Exactly.
Like, baby, you ain't
Like,
gonna do this shit to me again. Fool me once. That's it. That's it.
perfect, perfect. Before we leave, I want to quickly talk about Avatar, because I just feel like this is the perfect time to talk. I mean, in terms of just podcasting, because I don't want to talk about the next episode. Have you seen anything from Avatar?
I've only seen clips of it from like TikTok and Twitter, and I have
Okay.
heard positives. I've heard a lot more positives lately than negatives.
Okay. So, before I get into this, because I'm about to get into it, I would just like to say I've watched up to episode, I want to say 6 or 7. I either have 7 and 8 to finish. And from what I've seen, okay, let me say this. The people who have given it positive reviews seem to only know about the show in terms of Korra and in terms of Aang. Someone like me, I love Avatar lore down to the point where, like, I may not be reading the books, but I'm watching the YouTube videos of the people who do.
Okay.
So I know a whole lot about the lore. Like I know about the fire avatar before Roku. I know about the water avatar before Korra. I know about
The first Avatar one,
Yup. I mean, he
and
was
the
in Avatar Korra, so like a lot of people kind of know him.
and also the OG Avatar that no one wants to fucking talk about, Yang Chen.
Like, yeah,
That one, that right there. Listen,
like,
her and Kyoshi, bro. What is up with the female avatars coming in with some
like,
fucking heat?
yeah, they're absolutely,
Yang Chen
they're
was a
really cool.
fucking
Yeah,
beast, dog.
Yang Ching was really cool. Like, she would do this thing where, like, I mean, she would do what Zahir did, but like, she would do it on a grander scale.
Right.
Like, she would literally,
Oh.
like, basically, it would be like a whole room of people passing
Oh,
out.
did you also hear about it's not a conspiracy theory, more so like a fan theory about how Monkey Otso died? That he did the exact same thing as Yang Chen, but like in essence, he took the air out of everybody. Like he took the oxygen out of the room
It makes sense. I can
because
see
his
that.
corpse doesn't have like there's no sign of like fire debris or like scorch marks
Yeah.
anywhere.
That makes sense. I could definitely see that. Like, they think they try to do that in the show, but I just wanted to preface that like I listened to a lot of the lore, and the reason why I'm gonna say the casting was good. Although I will say Uncle Iroh, I felt like needed an accent. I don't like the Canadian English American thing that he got going on.
Iroh's Canadian now.
The way he just sounds is just not what I expected. And I know the guy can pull it off because he has the show called Kim's Convenience. And I watched him in that, and he had a really good accent, and he had a really good thing. Like, I really thought he was perfect for Iroh because, like, Uncle Iroh is the character that he played in the other show.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I just know he could do it. Hashtag not my Katara, hashtag not my Sokka, even though I know that they're good actors, and I know that they worked really well with the material that they gave. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Aang's cute. Zuko did his thing actually. Zuko has been doing his thing.
I heard Zuko's kind of zesty in this one.
Like
He ran.
like that part was so hilarious. I'm like on it. Why did they pick that take? I just don't know. It just was the most worst one. The whole hand thing to me was.
I was like, oh,
it was too much. But other than that, like he's done a really, 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 really good job of like portraying like a real life Zuko. Which honestly, like the thing about this show is like I realized like the creators were a part of the show for a time, like for a short time or however long they were. So some of the aspects of the show are going to fit. They are going to like make sense. But overall, like I just think they messed up the lore too much for me to actually be comfortable with me being like, oh, okay, like this is actually like good. Like yes, if this was like a standalone project, it would be great. It would be amazing. If you haven't seen the OG, it would be good. It would be amazing. If you're not into the lore, it's cute. But for me, who's kind of like really interested in this stuff, like it's actually ruining a lot of the lore. Like let's talk about um Koi, the face stealer. You remember that dude?
Mm-hmm.
So if you remember, Avatar Koruk has like beef with him
Because he stole his lover's face.
Yeah, and so Koruk is actually he's the youngest Avatar to die because he's used to like usually what he was doing during his time. He was actually fighting these spirits and killing them,
Yeah,
and
like
that
bare
takes a
ass
toll on
hands.
his hands. Yeah, like it was taking a toll on his life. So that's why he died at such a young age. And when Korra breaks the cycle, basically like the avatars don't like just disappear. They're still in the spirit world and like their own designated spaces, just doing their own thing. So Korra helps him, like actually in the books or the comics, she helps him find out where Koi is, and he goes to beats Koi and like gets his lover's face back or whatever. But in the show that can't happen because of the way that well, I guess it could, but like the way that they're having this whole situation with like Koi the face dealer going into like the forest and dealing with it, it just doesn't fit. Um, the whole fact that Aang is flying in the first fucking episode,
I don't think he's flying. I think he's gliding.
bitch,
I saw it. He was gliding.
that nigga was flying.
Like Zahir?
That nigga was flying. Like, was that here? There was no, because remember in the show, Aang, anytime he's in the air,
He has his
literally
glider.
has the glider.
Mhm.
And that
Which, by the
first
way, do they
episode-
introduce a glider at any point?
Yeah, they use the glider.
Okay.
And like not a lot. Like literally just during almost like the first episode. Like he's not using it as often as he
Oh,
did in the show.
I say Aang was fucking beasting with that glider.
Like
Don't
yeah,
tell
he
that
was
man nothing
always
about
using
that
that glider.
shit.
And like just the way that they mash some of the things up is like crazy. So like they basically mashed up Omashu and them going into the Northern Air Temple together.
Hmm.
So you know the guy in the wheelchair who he finds flying?
Mhm.
He finds him in Omashu than he does at the Air Temple. And that pisses me off because that Air Temple, like, in the show, like, basically, like, I don't know, Aang does not talk about his people as much as he does in the show. Like, the show made a really good job of, like, talking about, like, oh, Aang would be like, I'm a vegetarian because this is what they teach us. Like,
Mhm.
oh, the monks taught us about this, the monk taught us about that. When you go to that whole episode, like, there's a whole reason why Aang didn't want to open the door in the air temple was because he thought that was like the only thing that wasn't been touched by these people.
Mhm.
And like
They found out the Fire Nation actually ended up touching it.
yeah,
And then the people were using the
yeah,
Fire Nation tools.
yeah,
Mhm.
all of that is gone in the show.
Oh,
All of that is gone.
so what's the point of the Northern
The
Air
guy
Temple?
from Omashu, like yeah, he does do stuff like that, but it's not as like it's not as impactful and it's not as like
Cause that's like
talked about.
cause that's like a moment of Aang's character where he kind of realizes not only the gravity of the war, but he also kind of learns a lesson at the end where like there's people still trying to find their place in the world.
Yeah, like how he's discovering the world in this is completely different than how he's discovering it in the show, and like that's one of the other things. Like, first of all, and then Omashu, King Boomy, King Boomy's tests were like they weren't fun. They weren't fun, and they didn't even introduce Flopsy, which I was very pissed off about.
Flopsy.
Like I love Flopsy, but yeah, and it's just like the way that they make King Boomy just makes him seem like more. Like I guess they're trying to make it more realistic, so they make him seem more scarred from war than like what he's supposed to be, I guess. With King
But like
Boomy.
Boomy never really saw, or excuse me if I'm wrong, he never really like saw war like that, anyways.
Yeah, and Omashu, because Omashu was like held tight for a minute.
For a minute.
Then he got caught, and then he was just chilling in the thing because like he knew exactly what he wanted to do. He was just waiting.
He was just
to
waiting
do
for the
it.
right time, as he said.
Yeah, and so like that can't play out as properly because the way that they got Boomy going, he's just not that guy. He's just not that guy.
My thing is, I heard that the online discourse from an online discourse about it is that people are kind of upset that they introduced Azula so early.
Azula
And
is weak.
And not only that, who we're upset about is that like so from the show, from the kids show, Azula when we first were introduced to her is supposed to be like this perfect A+, like you can't touch this bitch. She's a prodigy.
She is a stone cold
bitch. Like she does not show any weakness until she figures out that May and Ty Lee abandoned her.
Yeah,
and then you saw
and
that
she's
break.
like a sadistic, and like even as a kid, you could tell that she was like a sadistic kid.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't give that. Like she gives very much insecure. She gives very much like I'm trying to like be better than my brother kind of thing. And it's like it wasn't that because she technically was better than.
That's the thing. She always
Zuko.
thought she was better than Zuko. She
Like,
thought she was perfect.
She was better than Zuko in terms of like Fire Nation training. Like she was better, but
She
like
was a prodigy.
he just had more heart. Yeah,
That's why she had the blue
And
fire.
That's what pissed me off. Like she doesn't even have blue fire in this. No blue fire.
So what's the? You telling me you couldn't just CGI her
Yeah.
fire to be blue?
They make her seem more jealous and everything. This Azula versus the old Azula. Old Azula would have ate this one up.
Oh, I'm
real
telling you, in
quick.
an instant, with her
Real
sharp
quick.
ass nails. Wait, did it at
And-
least have like her characteristic dings?
No, like she wasn't even messing with her hair like that. She wasn't doing shit. Like, and the thing that pissed me off is like, they're like, oh, well, you see the way that we introduce her, and the way they introduce her is like she just basically does espionage for like a rebel group that's trying to like take out the Fire Lord, and it's like, girl, first time we saw her in the second or in the original, she was cold. Like the first time you see her, first of all she's like 12 years old, leading generals and shit like that, telling people what to do with the shit.
And people were scared of shit.
Yeah, and then when the people are telling her like, "Oh, we can't do that," like that's thing, and she's like, "Okay, let me ask you, like, since you're so worried about the shore, if I throw you out off the ship, is the shore gonna think twice about killing you, throwing you across those fucking sharp ass rocks?" And he's like, "No," and she's like, "Okay, well, you better do what I fucking say before I change my mind about doing it, because the shore already made their mind up about killing you, but I'm still mulling it over." And I'm like, this is coming from a 12-year-old girl. This is the first time we're seeing her. She comes
Cunt.
out guns blazing, and then not only
Cunt.
that, she keeps it up. She keeps it up.
She keeps it up for like 3 seasons.
Yeah, and then not only that, even when she snaps, she is still going brazy. She's
Mm.
still going brazy. Like, let's not act like she wasn't like giving Katara the hands and Zuko the hands. It was 2 against 1.
I don't know.
Azula
Though.
was going against 2 against 1.
I don't
A
know.
waterbender and a firebender.
I think if Katara would have stepped out and stayed away from the fucking fight, Zuko would have had her.
Like,
Because Zuko already said he got this because he knew that he was breaking. But
yeah.
Katara had to be fucking Katara and pop in the middle of the fucking battle. And Azula's like, oh, fresh meat, bitch.
Yeah,
Bam.
Zula was there. Yeah. See what I'm saying? Zuko really would have beat her.
I'm telling you.
And
Don't-
then
you can't tell
not
me
only
anything.
that, let's keep in mind like this was the bitch who almost killed the Avatar.
Damn near almost killed the fucking Avatar.
No shade, no tea. Put some respect on her name. This is the bitch that almost killed the Avatar. So the way that they have her going in this one, it's just like it's a chop for me. The way that May is, she's not as sarcastic. Like the way that she seems like in this one, she's like she has no soul. And then
that's the point. though.
Ty Lee, no, May is sarcastic. She just doesn't give a fuck. This one seems like she has no soul. Like she literally is just a vessel in this earth, and she would rather slit her wrist than be here. There's a difference. And that's all I'm gonna say. Because mine was a little shady too. And then Ty Lee, although she was ditzy, she was more like a positive thinker.
She was
This
very
one-
optimistic.
Yeah, this one is a dumb bitch.
Oh.
That's what she gives. And so that's why I'm kind of just like,
Because
yeah,
Ty Lee was smart and nasty with her shit too.
No, Ty Lee was that girl.
Ty Lee was
Ty
that
Lee was
bitch.
that girl. And then at the end of the show, she ends up becoming a Kyoshi warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And her passing that on to the Kyoshi warriors, I'm sorry, that those methods with the Kyoshi warriors is cunt.
But
It's
hold
cunt.
on, we're gonna talk about Kyoshi Warriors. What the fuck they doing with Suki? Because Suki
Oh, they did Suki.
is the cunt. That
They
right
did
there.
Suki. With Suki, like that, a whole arc that they
Mhm.
did, like it really wasn't that bad. The only problem I had with it at the end was like they know this is the Avatar. Avatar Kyoshi just like performed like tricks in front of them and then just like left Aang's body afterwards. So like they saw Avatar Kyoshi, so they know for a fact it's Aang. After like the Fire Nation comes in and they kind of leave afterwards, they're like, "You got to get the fuck up out of here." I'm like, "Bitch, this is Avatar. This is Avatar like Kyoshi. Basically, you're telling to get the fuck up out of your island." Like I was just like, I just didn't like that because in the series,
They were like friendly and shit.
yeah,
they didn't
like,
want
said
Aang
come
to
back.
go.
Yeah. So that's why I was kind of like, okay, like them telling him to get the fuck up at my house was a little weird for me. But like everything else, like it was like, especially with Iroh and Zuko, like that's kind of like the more one that they kind of kept to heart because like every time like Iroh and Zuko are kind of on stage, like they kind of still have like that same relationship. They kind of have the same situation. It just like some of the parts work. I'm not gonna lie, some of the parts work. The ones that they kind of keep close to the original is what works. Anything that they kind of change for themselves, that's why I'm like, I understand why the creators left, and the reason why, that's also one of the reasons why I'm like, I can't really like this show, because at the end of the day, as much as cute as it was, the creators didn't like it for a reason. That's why they left.
I just think that the creators of this live action, right, not the creators of the show.
Yeah.
Well, you know, as they say, they were trying to. I guess they were trying to make it more serious to appeal to a
To Game of
mature.
Thrones, yeah.
Yeah, to appeal to a much more mature audience, right? Well, obviously, neglecting the fact that the majority of the fan base at this point are mature. However, the whole point of the Avatar series, and I think that's why it's so deep with us, is that it's a kids show, but it has its serious moments.
Yeah.
Again, it's a kids show that has serious moments, as opposed to a
serious
series,
plot.
right? As
Like-
opposed to like a serious show with maybe a couple bits of humor.
Yeah. Like, it's a serious ass plot, and like that's.
But they
just some
still
of the
make it fun
things.
and goofy in the cartoon. I think that's like
yeah,
the point that
like
we're looking
really,
for.
all they needed to do was just like do a remake, a 1-to-1 remake with just adding death in it.
I'm
And, like, it would've
saying,
just
like
made
you
sense.
just follow it by the playbook.
It would have been perfect. So like that's the reason why I'm kind of just like, I can't really get with it like that, because they did leave for a reason.
Also, I heard
And-
too that they instead, you know how like in the show it was Avatar Roku that kind of explained to Aang
Yeah.
how like avatars and the Avatar
That was
state
the
work.
first. Yeah, he was the first person. And
Because
this one is
he was in his
Kyoshi.
past life.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's Kiyoshi who's two
Yeah.
past lives before him.
Roku does show up, and like the thing that I don't like about Roku is they kind of make him a little bit more goofy in this one, Roku was very like he understood Aang, so like he never was like too much like harsh, but like he always allowed Aang to like be a kid and like understand like where he was coming from.
Right, this is his next past
And
life.
this one he was like too goofy for me, and I was just like he should have explained it when he got to that temple. They didn't even have all the statues over there. Like it it didn't hit as much as it did in the like in the show. And that's one of the reasons again why I'm just like, and I think one of the reasons why people also like are admitting to liking this show is because no shade no tea, they're comparing it to the other live adaptation remake.
Which is
So
probably a
compared to
lot better
this
than that
one,
one,
yeah,
yeah.
this one is like amazing, 10 across the board. So if you think about it like that, yeah, of course this one's gonna be fun. But if you're someone who actually cares about the lore, it's like it's kind of hard to like this one. And that's one again
Like I
why
said,
I'm like
if it was like if they would have put onto the title based on the Avatar series and kind of made like
yeah.
their like a little bit of a spin on the adaptation, that'd be something different.
Like yeah, if it was like our take on it, it
Hmm.
would have. This would have been it.
But you're trying to
Like
say that this is supposed to be
yeah,
like the live action from
yeah,
the cartoon show.
yep. And I know people are thirsty for a live action Toph. So that's why I know like a lot of people are kind of
Listen,
like,
they better not fuck Toph up. Come
oh,
on, man. Come on. But honestly, though, is it that far already for them to be
like
talking about Toph?
yeah,
Toph
because Toph
doesn't.
is gonna be book 2. Well, actually, I don't know
I'm saying, have you even
because I
finished book
haven't
one yet?
finished the last one, but they haven't even gotten to the northern southern tribe yet.
Yeah, the southern, the
Or
northern water tribe.
the northern water tribe.
So if they if they haven't done the northern water tribe
I
and they haven't gone
know
through
they're
all
gonna
that,
get there,
then you
but
can't talk about
yeah.
Toph right now.
And that's why I'm scared too, because it's just like by book 2, like that's who we're introducing her. Like the pace this is, we might not even see her in the next one, and if we do, it's because they're going off the books. And then, like, I'm sorry, I don't
Granted,
trust Avatar to do that, or
but
I
I'm
don't
saying
trust
like
Netflix to do
you
that.
can't have an Avatar series. You can't have the original Avatar series and not have Toph because Toph is Aang's earthbending teacher.
Yeah.
It's same as like you have to have Zuko, you have to have Toph, you have to have Katara. You know, these are
Yup.
Aang's teachers
Oh
essentially.
yeah, that actually reminds me. Now that you say that, so they did show the badger moles, and they showed it during the tunnel scene. Like remember in Omashu where they have to go through the tunnels.
The Glover's Tunnel or something like that.
Yup.
Didn't they put Sokka next to Katara?
Yes.
How the fuck are we supposed to
Yes.
see in the live action time the development and the relationship between Katara and Aang if you don't stick
Aang
by what the
wasn't
fuck
even
they did?
there. Aang wasn't even there.
He wasn't even there.
No, he wasn't even in those fucking tunnels. That's why I was like, yeah, this is definitely a chop. It was only Zuko, and then once they were just like, I'm sorry, because they were fighting the whole time of the tunnel, and like the badger mole was coming after it. Um, apparently they changed it to the badger moles feel love. So like, that's how they control. Like they basically emulate the same emotions you have. So if you're angry, they're angry, and if you're like basically love, they're all calm and shit like that, and they'll do what you want them to. A fucking
It's cool.
chop, and I know that's gonna affect the way that Toph learns earthbending. Because if you don't know, Toph learns earthbending from the badger moles. So,
Because they're also blind.
like, yeah, so like that was the whole thing, and I was just like,
So what? Toph's gonna feel love, and that's how she earthbends. It's
I
Toph.
know that's what I'm saying. I'm like Toph, like, are they gonna make Toph a lovey-dovey like spirit
Oh
girl?
my gosh.
Like, are they about to make her a Phoebe, or like what's gonna happen? Because like off of this already, like for Toph, like Toph's like a tomboy, like
Hard
she
as
can't
hell.
be loving, doing all this. That's why I'm like, it's already fucking up the lore, you guys. Y'all are talking about it could be good, it's cute, it's cute. Y'all are scarred from the last adaptation that y'all are accepting this one. No shade, no tea. I'm about to break it up. Y'all are scarred from the last adaptation, so y'all are accepting this
We
one.
don't even count the last adaptation. That never
Like-
happened. M Light Shyamalan, he's doing other things. Keep making 6 cents.
The thing about that one, I was like, there's so many things that like if they fix it would not have been as bad as they thought. And then like the bending, a lot of people talk about the bending. It's cute. Like the thing about this is like that's the reason why it worked better as a cartoon than it did as this, because like these kind of like situations are hard to turn into
Like CGI-ish.
like, yeah, CGI and stuff. So
But I'm like, if you have the capability of the money, I mean, like, let's look at. I mean, granted, I'm not gonna say that the producers have the same budget as Marvel,
Yeah.
for example. So we're not expecting any kind of Marvel
Yeah.
type things. But you're a Netflix show that is paid for and supported by Netflix. Tell me you couldn't get a little bit extra.
Yeah.
CGI. Come on. Now.
you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm kind of just like, with this one, I see what y'all are saying. It's cute. It's fun. if you haven't seen the show, like this is a great introduction for you to actually like want to see if you want to get into
You
it.
want to see everything like in a really
Yeah.
quick like synopsis.
But if I were to tell people, I'm like, if you really like the show after the first episode, I suggest you stop watching the remake and just watch the cartoon. If you actually kind of like the idea of what's going on, because the cartoon is way better. It's more fleshed out. They have more storyline. The characters are more fleshed out. The way that they water down Katara, she's oh my god,
is she
she's
still
so
crying?
passive.
Is she still crying about her mother?
Like yeah, yes, but like they do it more in a traumatic way. But this one is just so watered down. Like the Katara in the old show would have watched this one. She would have been so like, who the fuck is this bitch? Like, what is she? Like, girl, stand up.
Sokka would
Stand
probably say the
up.
same thing. Who the fuck is this unfunny motherfucker?
Like, the thing, no, this one would have been like, okay, the other Sokka is a little misogynistic. Okay, like he's a little weird.
That's the point of Sokka.
But yeah, that's the point of Sokka. He's supposed to learn.
You know,
that
he's
shit.
also the world's first backbreaker or backbender.
Like,
Look at that man. Hey, Sokka's Riz was untouchable in the fucking show. You couldn't.
yeah, he. Had
Everybody want a piece of that man.
I'm like, he was a love bender. That's what he was. He was a love bender. What'd he say? Water drive. Like, but yeah, that's why I'm kind of just like, oh, with this one, like they did a good job. The actors, I'm not gonna lie, the actors did what they needed to with what they were given.
Mm-hmm.
The writing in this, atrocious. I don't care what nobody says. That whole speech that Aang gave himself at the beginning of the show did not need to happen. Wolf Cove, instead of it being the Southern Water Tribe, didn't need to happen.
What?
Yep, that's what they call it. The Southern Water Tribe is Wolf Cove. It's a chop.
The point of the Southern Water Tribe is because like where all the men left to go to the
Yup.
war, it was just women, children, and Sokka.
Yep.
But that was the Southern Water Tribe though.
They don't even call the Fire Nation the Fire Nation. It's Capital City.
The Fire Nation capital is what they called it. The fuck.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So that's
Is
why I'm
Ba
just
Sing
like,
Se still Ba Sing Se, or is
Yeah.
that fucking Earth
that's
City?
gonna be there in the second one, but like I don't think they're gonna hide the war in that one because like I said, the way that this one's going, it doesn't seem like they're gonna have time for that kind of plot, or they're gonna want to even put it in there. Like I told them,
What?
'cause
They
don't
have
the
to
balls.
put Ba Sing Se in.
They
there.
don't. They're gonna put Ba Sing Se, but remember how Judy came through and she was like, "There is no war in Ba Sing Se."
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna have that bitch. They're not gonna have the Ba Sing Se people not thinking that.
I about to say they're not gonna have the Dai Li, because the Dai Li was the ones that also upheld that shit. As in, there's no war in Ba Sing Se, and if you think there's a war, I'm gonna take you under real quick, and I'm gonna tell you there's no fucking war, and you gonna be manipulated into that shit. Like,
And do you want to know what's
bro, what?
tea? Do you want to know what's tea? People don't know this, but like the whole reason why like Avatar is like such a good thing on layers is because like especially with Aang's conflicts, a lot of like his obstacles came from his past lives failures. So let's talk about Roku. So the whole reason why the Air Nation isn't even here anymore was because Roku failed to kill his best friend, who was
Sozin.
Fire Lord Sozin. And so he ended up dying on his island, and then once he figured out that he died, he ended up, I think, that's when he started plotting everything.
because Sozin knew that the Avatar cycle
would go to the next one,
which was going to be an airbender, so he wanted to stop that before that even happened.
So since Roku couldn't kill his best friend, Aang's people were killed. People don't know this about Miss Kyoshi, but yes, Kyoshi, she created the Kyoshi warriors and
But she
stuff
also
like
created
that.
the Dai Li too.
She also created the Dai Li. So how are you gonna have that story? How are you gonna have everything? How are you gonna have the effects of the Dai Li and how they brainwashed the fucking whole country if you don't have that?
Screw that. Are y'all gonna do Appa's Lost Days? Because the Dai Li also played into that.
They
effect.
showed the fucking owl already.
They did?
Yup.
Why?
They showed the fuck. Because when they were into like remember that episode with the spirit, or when they saw the whole forest burned and stuff like that, they mashed that up and they showed the spirit, and now apparently some humans can't hear the spirit, only the avatars can hear some spirits and shit like that. Like,
I mean, the Avatar is the bridge between.
that's what I'm saying. Yes, that part it kind of did make sense in that show, and I was like, okay, maybe like that part the creators kind of thing. Anytime I was like actually happy about what was going on screen, I just assumed
that was the
creators. I was like, yeah, the creators probably were here on this part. And so that's why I was like, some of these things hit or miss, but like all these things that they're changing, I'm like, it's changing the plot.
Because like if you
Changing the plot.
showed the owl outside of the tower, which is where the owl reside and protects over the books, which is how Sokka figures out about Sozin's comment. How the fuck are you gonna do book 3 where they tried to invade the Fire Nation and they ended up failing? How are you gonna do that if you already introduced the owl in season 1 in the fucking forest? The owl is trapped in the
That's what I'm
fucking
saying.
tower for a reason.
That's what I'm saying.
He's the keeper of the knowledge.
And then not only that, like he was a spirit that was like bound to the human world. Like he wasn't in the spirit world.
Mhm.
He was in the human world protecting the books. That's why at the end he fucking buries the
He's
rest
buried
of
the
the thing.
library, yeah.
Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like y'all, like I know y'all are ready for this, but it's like it's changing the lore up to the point where it's like it's not gonna get better, you guys. The lore is gonna keep getting changed and changed, and as soon as you see it keeps going, y'all are gonna stay. Y'all are gonna be the first ones to say, "Oh, it's a chop, it's a chop, it's a chop." Now I'm saying it's a chop now. Like I loved everything that everyone did. Everyone did a good job. Costume designers did what they could, because some of them, but they did a good job still compared to the other one. The casting directors really were trying to do a good job. They really did with a lot of them. Um, the actors did what they could with the script, but that script is atrocious. I'll
He
give you
ran.
like that script is atrocious and giving me this whole I don't want to be Avatar. I'm just a little kid. Da da da. Like it's bullshit. It doesn't need to happen. Like
Because that's not even the reason why Aang didn't really want to do what he wanted to do. He just still wanted to enjoy
yeah.
being a kid
And then it's
and
not
being
only
an avatar.
that, like, I feel like people's like, he wants to enjoy being a kid. Like, Aang is a kid. Like, he doesn't understand this stuff because he's a kid. He's 12 years
Exactly.
old. Like, he's learning how to be an avatar, like, at a
He
younger
thinks
age than he's supposed to
right. He's
be.
thinking everything it can be solved with peace. And then
Exactly.
there are some points in the Avatar, in some points in the Avatar show where Aang had to kind of realize that some
Yeah.
people you can't really be
Like,
peaceful with.
that's the only thing that he had. He only had the teachings from the monks at first. So, like, that's the reason why, like, everything that he did was very, like, air nomad heavy.
Right.
Was that's because, like, that's the only way he could
I mean, that's where he
understand
was
this
raised.
world. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the only way he could understand the world was technically through his religion. So, like, that's why everything that he did was, like, very religion heavy. And that's why I feel like he had such a problem compared to Yang Chen. I think that's why he had such a problem killing people. Because Yang Chen had no problem with that.
Listen, Yang Chen said kill him.
Yang Chang is a baddie. If y'all didn't know, she would kill a nigga.
Slowly.
She would kill a hoe. But Aang had a problem with that, and I don't think it's because necessarily like he couldn't do that necessarily because he easily could. But I think he was holding on to his like teaching so much because he was the last person to like. He's the last airbender, so like he's the only person who's like able to hold on to these teachings and stuff like that. So if he starts like breaking the rules and stuff, like it kind of breaks that like connection that he has to the air nomads. So that's why I really think he had a huge problem trying to beat trying to not kill Firelord Ozai. It's just because he was really trying to hold on to his like what his beliefs and whatnot.
And he prevailed, and then he was
Yep.
able to what was it was I know they explained in the core, is it soul bending or some shit like that? Were you able to take the bender's power?
Yeah,
away?
chi bending.
Chi bending.
He learned it from the
Lion
turtle line.
turtle.
Yeah, the lion turtles, which I don't know how they're gonna put in this because like
But again, that should be something that they should not even talk about until book 4.
yeah, like
So
it's
if they introduce the lion turtle right now, well, the kid hasn't even learned earth bending yet. The kid doesn't
yeah.
even really know water
I
bending
just
like
don't
that.
know. Yeah, I just don't know how the pacing is. I do need to finish watching the last 2 episodes. I did not watch them on Netflix. I just want to say, especially with the way Netflix and all these other streaming apps are going,
I'm pirate kids.
I'm just saying we're going to see a renaissance in the pirating business. So let me tell you, all the pirating websites, thank you for actually holding out.
I mean, all
Like,
these
because there
years.
was a minute we forsaked you. There is a minute we all forsake you,
I have
but
not
we're coming back.
forsaken pirated sites.
That's
I
what I'm
still
saying.
will.
We're coming back.
That's
Don't
why I watch
worry.
my anime. Fuck
Pirated
Crunchyroll.
sites, we're coming. My sister pays for Crunchyroll, so I just reap the benefits.
Nah, I this one site. It has every single anime, even all the new ones that come out.
Yeah,
Episodes and all, dub and in sub.
I do need this to watch. Girl, you gonna have to send me that website, please.
Mhm.
Like, but
WatchCartoonsOnline.com.
girl, we'll have to
And you
mute
can also
that.
watch any kind of cartoon.
Y'all gonna have
any
to
kind
sponsor me if y'all want to see y'all's freaking pirated websites on my page. Fuck that. But yeah, all in all, I like I said, I peaked what they have is cute, but Avatar is gorgeous. Gorgeous Devour's cute. That's all I'm gonna say. If y'all liked it, I'm happy for y'all. But I just
But
want
in reality, we're actually waiting for the teenage adaptation in
yup.
2020.
The real
This
tea.
year or next year.
The real tea is we're actually waiting on whatever the creators are doing.
Oh, by
Because
the
whatever the
way,
creators doing are going to be miles better than the Netflix show.
by the way, it is canon that Aang actually was the first person from Team Avatar to die, and he died young
Yeah. Like,
because
I'm
of
pretty sure
like
he was like
all
30
that
something.
shit was coming, like all the years being trapped in the iceberg finally caught up to him, and he like died young. He was also a deadbeat father, apparently,
Yeah.
according to Korra.
Did you not see Korra? Yeah.
I did not. I did
I
not
don't
watch
want to
Korra.
say he was a deadbeat father. I just think like the way that they basically made him. By the way, Korra wasn't supposed to live past the first season, so everything after season 1, the creators pulled out of their ass. So let's just talk about that right there. Everyone likes to talk about. No, let's get into it. We have a little time. We'll get into it really quickly.
Real quick.
First of all, everyone likes to talk about how Korra's supposed to be better than Aang. Korra's not better than anybody. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, she was dealing with like cutthroat people who wanted to kill her, and I was like, did the Fire Nation not want to all kill Aang? Did Aang not have to go into hiding for like most of his time, like in his like teenage years?
Also, he was the youngest Avatar to master all 4 elements.
Like yeah, like he had to do that at 12 years old.
Like Korra's not catching Aang at
And no shade, no tea. Aang got out of a lot of the situations that he was in without the Avatar state.
Ooh.
Korra got out of none with hers.
Until
And-
she actually fucked up the Avatar state.
Yeah, and no, that was season 2. Like I said, they pulled that one out of their ass because where did the power of me come in? The power, like that was basically the power of friendship. Whatever they did to bring back the Avatar
Power of
state,
friendship.
whatever she did, it was basically plot armor. Fuck that. I don't care what anybody says. That was fucking plot armor. It doesn't make sense. How did she beat the fucking Avatar and then all of a
I
sudden
will say,
get the power to do
Korra
it?
definitely had much more in-depth villains. Like, I wish the original Avatar series kind of went a little bit more in-depth into Ozai.
Yeah, I will say,
You know,
her villains seem more cutthroat, like because we know them personally.
yeah, they had depth.
But like,
We know why they think that they.
yeah,
they think.
but like back in the, in Aang's time, like the Fire Nation basically did a Holocaust.
And who?
The Aang, like the Fire Nation basically did a Holocaust, so they were also just as like bad. It was just a different type of bad. Like these people were like individually bad versus
Right.
the Fire Nation was like a nation.
But see,
bad.
what I'm saying is that Korra's villains, they had depth.
Yeah,
Like
Zahir.
like you kind of like it's. I don't want to say you gain sympathy for them almost, but you kind of
You understand them.
why they're doing what
Yeah,
they're doing.
you
Whereas
understand
Fire
the
Lord
plot.
Ozai, you're just like,
Yeah,
okay,
he
so
was
you're
just
just
a
a
bad
fire,
guy.
you're just a
Yeah.
firebender that's just a
Just
dickhead.
like almost like a kids show, like
Right.
you're just a bad guy.
Yeah,
kinda
you're just a
thing.
dickhead. There's no
I see
depth
that.
to it.
I see that, and that's what I'm saying too. Like the Korra's villains are very well done. Like they're very well done. I'll give her that. And the situations that she had to put up with as a Avatar.
Do I
Like,
think Aang
yeah.
could wipe Korra's villains? I think Aang could wipe Korra's villains.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm saying this as someone who does not really watch The Legend of Korra like that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It depends on some. Like the Red Lotus, I think team like Avatar's team would have been able to take them. But like a lot of the problems with like that I have with Korra is like that bitch.
I mean,
She
wait,
doesn't listen to
time out,
anybody.
time out. Hell yeah, Team Avatar is gonna take that because let's not talk and sit here like Toph is not a fucking powerhouse in her
yeah.
own sense.
That's what I'm saying. Like no shade, no tea. Like a Team Avatar is filled with prodigies. Like
Fucking,
all of them are prodigies.
on God.
Like even Sokka, like he just. All of
Sokka's
them
a
are
genius.
just great. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like all of them are just great at what they do.
Whereas
Meanwhile,
Korra's team
they-
has like a bisexual, a lava bender douche, a firebender
who could
douche.
eat, but he doesn't. He's not even into it enough to where he chooses to. Like he's always trying to do something else, which is why I was like, Bolin like has so much potential, but he doesn't do anything. Mako, whatever his name is, he really was just running after Korra. Like he did not have anything else. Korra, like she was just always getting her ass beat. No offense, she was always getting her ass beat by the villains. Like she would always get her ass beat. Then Avatar state would come, and then everything would be fixed.
Yay,
It literally
Avatar
runs like that. Like every single time. Every single time when she lost her bending, Avatar state came through. When she lost the Avatar state, all of a sudden the power of me came through. When that happened, when they tried to kill her, Avatar state came through. when Korra started trying to do some weird shit, Avatar State came through. Like it was literally always Avatar State that saved Korra.
Now, do I think Korra can wipe Fire Lord Ozai? Oh yeah.
Oh yes, that's also true too.
Korra actually probably killed him.
I'm not gonna,
second thought.
you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna disrespect Korra and say that she was a nobody. I'm not trying to say that she wasn't good. But when y'all try to compare it to Aang, like babes, no.
Aang kind
like
of,
yeah,
I'm team Aang.
like Aang would have wiped everybody. Because like if you remember in this show, like they kind of like Aang gets hit a couple of times. Back in the day, Zuko was never touching Aang. Like the only time he touched Aang was when Aang was passed out. Like not even in this world.
I think the only person that actually ever really touched Aang was Ozai and Azula.
Azula got Aang good.
Listen,
Azula was the only person who said, "I got my lick."
Granted, that was a cheap shot, but you know what she did? She broke the anime rule.
Yes.
Which is to let them power up.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Azula said, fuck that.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't really a cheap shot, because let's be honest. If you see your enemy and he's just rising up, everybody's just staring at him.
And you know he's about to go ballistic.
No one's taking a shot.
Down.
No one's taking a shot.
Ass down, boy.
Azula, that's what I'm saying. Azula is cutthroat, because she's the girl who's going to go bow.
Because everybody was just staring at that boy like, whoa. Even Zuko, whoa.
You know
Azula's like, y'all going to get him?
Not on my watch.
Man.
Not on my watch.
Man,
that's what Azula said. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the people that Aang was dealing with, yes, babe, they were cutthroat too.
Now,
Azula
now how about this?
and basically did succeed killing him. It was because Katara had that healing water that saved his life. Mm-hmm. Let's not get that right there.
But you know what Azula also did? She severed the connection for a bit.
Yep.
Like, queen, that's something to put on your resume. Now, here's the question I have for the folks at home and for you. Azula in her prime, before she went, but Azula cutthroat versus Korra. Granted, I think Korra still would wipe her, but damn, that would be a bad. Korra would be having to go into the Avatar state.
It would be a good fight, but Korra, just because the type of enemies that Korra has to deal with too, like she has to deal with metal benders as much as like earthbenders, firebenders, and stuff like that. So like.
If we talk about like the basic elements though, like let's say if Korra did have all the 4 elements. And
yeah, I'm not even saying
Azula
like Korra's metal bending, but I'm just saying like she has to deal with metal benders, so like that's almost like a different type of shit that she has to deal with. Mm-hmm. So like she's almost on another level,
like a different type of battle. Like
yeah, so she's like, bitch, like don't even try me.
You know, Korra was with the hands though.
Like yeah, that's what I'm saying. Korra would actually like come and like tough some shit up with Azula. Mm-hmm. Like she would like, cause Azula is like very offensive, but so is Korra. So that's why I'm like it would be a good fight, but like. Especially with Korra knowing all the different elements, she would think. But Azula would get her lick a couple of times before Korra actually wins the fight. I will say that.
But I have a feeling Korra probably have to go to the Avatar state to win the fight. No cap.
Maybe. Because she has to every time she beats someone, like a big ass enemy, she always wins it through Avatar state. So, wouldn't be surprised. But, yeah, all in all, like, Aang's story is very sacred, and like the way that they're changing it is making me scared for the rest of the lores and everything and how everything else works.
I say have some optimism about it, you know, because while the creators of the live action want to say and put this and say like, oh yeah, this is, you know, our take on the Avatar, you know, in the live action type of sense. Yeah. You know, you obviously know that things are going to be changed. You can just only hope that it's at least a good story.
Yeah.
It fits.
To be honest, I'm just waiting to see what the creators are going to do, because we're about to get Avatar in their like adult years or their young adult years.
Now that's going to be interesting.
The next earthbending Avatar. So like, I'm just more excited for them to explore or to expand the lore that I already know to be true than to see Netflix just do whatever they want with the lore now. And especially, no offense, no shade, no tea, you guys, the creators aren't working on Avatar anymore. Next season's going to be trash. That's a fact. That is a fact. Because whatever they, like I said, this show is cute. And like I said, the creators were working for it in a time. So that's why some of the things worked. Whatever comes after this, it's downhill from here, babes. It's downhill from here. So I need all of y'all who liked it, surprise, surprise, it's downhill from here.
Aang ends up learning firebending in book 2.
Just watch. Zuko's gonna end up teaching him how to firebend before Topps even shows up. Just wait.
Zuko's gonna go through his little quarter life crisis before they even get to Boston.
Yup. See, but Okay, on that note, we'll end it
Mm.
here. This was actually a really good podcast episode. Like, this was really good, especially a new one. I love the Avatar, everything. I'm so happy you're open to talk about your past relationship because we all know that at the time was crazy.
I
So
mean,
thank
hey,
you
that
about.
was just another peg in the barrel for me to find someone that actually cares about me.
Yeah,
She listens to me. It's surreal to think, you know, who I was dating before
yeah.
versus who I'm dating now, and everything so far is beautiful and gorgeous. I mean, we're running on a 7 month streak right now.
You know what
Um,
that is?
hmm,
Growth.
it very much is.
Like,
It's honestly beautiful. She is very very independent.
like,
Um, she is, she's hilarious. She's very good hearting. Yes, she is, folks at home. Yes, yes, she
I wasn't surprised.
is.
Like,
She is, but all overall, it's just something that you think, why didn't I meet you sooner? But
right.
maybe it's a good thing I didn't meet her sooner, because the person that I am now is not the person who I was before, and I don't think she would take the person who I was before. She would, but
But that's beautiful. That's beautiful. But all right, B. Where can the people find you?
as
You already
always,
know.
you can find me on Instagram, bree.bear1000. That's where I'm at. Everything else, you can see me in real life.
Big purr, big purr. And if y'all are watching this on YouTube, thank you, thank you. Please like, because it does help with the algorithm. Please subscribe, comment down below. If you're watching this or if you're listening to this on a listening platform, that means we finally made it.
Hey, hey, claps, claps,
Cause
claps,
I
claps.
don't know when I'm gonna be able to upload these onto the platforms, but I have to do everything else. But you already know I'm doing multiple hats, and we're switching them as things. But we're putting this all on YouTube. That's all that matters. But
Producer, manager, writer, actor, editor,
you know,
visual.
you know, a day in life of the creative. But thank you so much, B. We'll be back hopefully next week with another episode. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Hopefully
See.
Kiana will be here. I really want one with Kiana again, but this bitch is hard to pin down. She really
Man,
is. She's always off.
shit.
She's always doing something every weekend. But thank you guys. Thank you. Give us 5 stars. Like us. Comment us. Subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Peace out.
And with that.